Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day. Tom Papa, welcome to Real America. I'm glad you've gotten out of your liberal hidey hole. You come here where you can eat at a real restaurant.
It feels the same.
Does it?
Yeah.
What do you mean it feels the same?
It feels the same. I went to a restaurant and, is that what real life is now? Restaurant or not a restaurant?
It feels the same where? As it does in L.A.?
Just walking around.
L.A. feels the same as this place?
Kinda.
That's not what you were just saying before we got on the air. What are you, a fucking propagandist? Well, the guy comes here.
No,
He's
I'll tell you what the difference is.
different off air.
I'll tell you what the difference is.
He was saying y'all and all kinds of shit.
You hide your guns.
No, you know what I found? I'm here to eat with you by way of Denver, and then to here, and they're all doing the same things pretty much. You have a little more indoor, but everyone's masked up. Everyone's doing things, but there's less anxiety in these places.
Right.
There's in LA.
Yeah.
They keep the pressure turned up to scare you, to get you to behave. So you do walk around feeling more trapped and more nervous.
Yeah, but it's not based on reality. It's not wise. It's not healthy.
Well, the
Trump's
reality-
74 and he's fat and he kicked it in 4 days.
Yeah, but
I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
what did they give that guy? They gave him everything. He's the
But-
president of the United States.
But it works. They have a thing. If you give him everything, it
Yeah,
works.
sure,
it works
but-
for fat old guys.
Yeah, but he's getting stuff that's very different from what you would get just walking into urgent care in Encino.
Don't go to urgent care in Encino. Go to Cedars-Sinai. They'll hook you up with whatever he's got.
Yeah.
Do you think is he getting things that you can't get?
Yes.
In all seriousness.
Yeah.
Are you sure? How do you know
100%, because the first thing is a trial drug that hasn't been approved yet. They're not just handing that out at Cedars.
Is that the what
first thing.
That's Remdesivir?
No,
How do I say that?
No, everyone can get that.
Remdesivir?
Remdesivir.
Anyone can get that.
Anyone can get
And then
remdesivir.
what is the other stuff they gave
But the
him?
other thing he got was like the plasma-related
Right.
therapy.
You can't get that everywhere?
No,
Why can't you?
because you're not the president of the United
Or
States.
maybe the liberal media is trying to keep that from you so that you stay sick so that they can get Biden into the White House. Ever think about that?
All right, now wait a second. I literally last night, because I literally was like, there is definitely so much confusion because that side is ramping up the fear 100%, making it scarier than it is, so they can get him in to be president. And the other side is definitely saying from Trump on down, don't worry about this thing. So it makes it look like we did a good job and the economy comes back and all that stuff. So I'm like, this cognitive dissonance, like what is real? What I watched Tucker Carlson, he made sense for a minute. And then I watched, I watched Anderson, he made sense for a minute. And I was like, let me lift off into the satellite and let me just look at the world.
Yeah.
Let me see what's happening in the world.
Right.
Just that's not involved in this election. Spain, France, Moscow, the Netherlands, all opened up a little too much, and now we're all putting restrictions back. Everything's spiked.
Yeah,
coming
but
back.
if you want to look at other countries, look at Sweden, because they opened up completely, and they have less cases, and now they're back to normal. They have no masks. You go to a bar, no one's... Obviously, it's a smaller country.
Smaller country.
Less-
I mean, look.
Less people. They
Yeah.
live in different sort of circumstances. They have mostly smaller villages,
Right.
other than Stockholm, but
Yeah.
they're fine.
I know, but if you look at Spain and you look at France and you
Right.
look at Moscow, I mean, these places, there's no political agenda in these places. There's no political agenda. It's just they opened up and they said, let's go all open. And the cases skyrocketed, and now they have to like bring it back a little bit. It's this, the virus is a real thing, eating all these extra humans. And, you
Eating
know,
all these extra human. What the fuck? What are you saying? The virus is a real thing, eating all these extra humans?
Yeah.
What is that?
What do you mean?
What kind of way to describe it is that?
Well,
the
don't
virus
you-
is
that's
a
how
real
I look
thing,
at it.
eating all these extra humans.
We have extra humans right now. We have way too many humans.
You can't say it like that.
Well, it's the truth. You know how sometimes you have moss that's growing and it comes up just up to the edge of the walkway and you're like, that looks pretty.
Right.
And then it starts going over onto the brick and starts covering. We are the moss and we're covering the bricks now, and something's showing up and scaling us back a little bit.
Or there was an experimental virus that they were working on in the Wuhan, level 4 lab, and it got out. Sweden,
Do you
which
think that's where it
refused
came
COVID
from?
lockdown, says restrictions will remain for at least another year. Yeah, but the restrictions are very different. The
But
restrictions are for really large gatherings, but you can go to restaurants, you can go to bars, you can go to all those places.
But there's still restrictions. The virus is a real thing, go all around the planet, and it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be till June, by the way, I heard in Denver.
What do they know? How do they know that in Denver? Are they the people who told you about eating up extra humans?
Jesus. They told me that this pilot was talking to me at the show, and he said his doctor of some note was saying that all of our pandemics have lasted 18 months. Despite what we try to do, restrictions, no restrictions, it runs its course. 18 months is about where the fire starts to subside and you go back to normal. Historically speaking. And this one, and because it's 100 years in between pandemics, nobody's around to like give you lessons from the last one. So we make all the same mistakes. And if you go by that, it's about June from when this virus started. We're talking about June when we're back to normal, which is kind of upsetting, but kind of nice also that you have an end date. You know, it's kind of like, all right, that's annoying. I got to wear masks and do all this stuff and be kind of messed up. But till June, that's kind of nice. I can maybe make some plans. I can make a 4th of July plan.
How many businesses are we going to lose between now and June, though? I think the real issue is people putting restrictions on what people can and can't do. That's the real problem. Is you're basically giving up your constitutional rights, and there's no real protection for you this way, right? There's no real protection for your business. There's no real protection for your livelihood.
Well,
and even with all this, you're still dealing with other kinds of horrible deaths and other kinds of horrible things that go along with the economic despair.
Sure.
Like how many people are going to die because of drug overdoses?
Or depression
how many people
or
are gonna
suicide.
Die? Yes.
Yeah.
So these have to be factored in too.
They totally do. And I really get the feeling like, but there's the middle ground between
right, but
the CNN narrative and this Fox narrative. There's the truth. And I saw it in Portland. I saw it in Connecticut. I saw it in Salt Lake City.
What are you saying?
I've performed in all these places. And they are all wearing masks, but their businesses are open.
Yes.
And
well, that's what we should have had in LA a long time ago.
Yes, they're testing. They've got the masks on. They're distancing. Like I ate in restaurants, but it's limited capacity. I performed in comedy clubs, half capacity.
But here's the thing,
not just because of my comedic draw.
I don't think that that's scientific, because there's aerosol. The virus is carried through the air now.
Yeah.
This has pretty much been confirmed.
Yeah.
They used to think it carried through droplets, which is the reason for the whole 6-foot social distancing space. They don't think that's the case anymore. They think it's airborne.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, all that social distancing stuff is horseshit because it's in the air.
But not if you're social distanced and have a mask on.
I'm telling you, the social distancing thing doesn't mean anything anymore.
Gotcha.
What they're
So
saying
you can be
is
close with a mask, but you're
can
still in a mask.
a lot of these masks have holes in them.
Well, yeah, but
A lot of these masks, like you see these paper masks that people have with the wire, there's an opening in the top, there's openings in the side.
There's a
Now,
lot of
look, I'm
sketchy
not
masks.
saying it's not a good idea to wear a mask, and maybe it reduces some of the droplets that go out.
100%.
Maybe. I'm not a scientist, neither are you.
I'm
but
not.
What I am saying is I don't know how much. I think what you're getting is you're getting a lot of people that are healthy and they're going out and they don't have it and they're not giving it to anybody because they don't have it, and you're getting away with it. And everybody's wearing masks, and it's good to be cautious. But I don't necessarily know if you were in a room filled with people who had COVID and unless you had an N95 mask, unless you have a real mask, I don't know if those fucking cloth masks are going to help you.
I think they work. I mean, because look, you look at these places.
What are you basing that on?
I'm basing it on cities where they have the mask as a thing, and they made it mandatory that you wear these masks, and the numbers go down.
Everyone does.
Everyone does what?
Everywhere you have to wear a mask. The whole country.
Well, now, but it wasn't. I mean, this was fits and starts, and people screwing around.
There's all sorts of weird shit.
I
Like
traveled-
The protests were a big kick in the virus. That was a giant uptick.
Right, of course, and there was a lot of people out there with no masks.
Not just that, they were just bumper to bumper with each other. They were right
Yeah.
next to each other and screaming.
Right, exactly.
And it's in the air,
Exactly.
especially at nighttime. They think the sun kills it like almost instantly.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's been studies on UV light, and UV light kills it almost instantly.
Right.
So sunlight and even simulated sunlight can kill it.
Look, any precaution. It's you're playing the odds.
Yeah.
Right. You want to do all the things that you can.
I want the steroids that Trump's on. That's what I want.
I want them too. And I want the vaccine. I want
same shit that The Rock had when he was doing Jumanji. That's what they gave him. They gave him all the good stuff.
Yeah, the really good stuff and shots in the ass.
Did you see his tweets?
Remember when you were a kid and you got a shot in your butt cheek?
I do.
Those things worked. That's what we need to bring back. Ass cheek shots.
What shots did they give you in your butt?
I don't know, but they worked.
Remember.
And you didn't want to go back to the doctor
Did they
and have
really
some
work?
man take your pants off and make you cry in front of your mom, so you stayed healthy.
I never cried on my
How funny would it be if you sticking your ass out of your car window to get your vaccine?
That would be hilarious. If everybody just like parked with their butt right up to their driver's side window.
So look, all of this is kind of like it's going to run its course.
Hold on a second here.
But you can do things.
Conley
to calm it
also
down.
revealed Trump has been treated with dexamethasone, an immunosuppressant steroid that can cause euphoric mood changes. Well, there's his tweets.
That's him.
Since
That's
then,
him doing wheelies
people
in the
have
parking lot.
Since then, people have posted online about their own experience with the drug. Interesting. An immunosuppressant. That's what's interesting too. Is like they say that one of the things that happens with this disease is you actually don't want the immune system to react too violently to the disease, which is or too aggressively to the disease. So they're given. I don't understand the logic behind that because I'm stupid.
I tried to read that article. It was complicated. Like it made me think how amazing the human body is. This immune system. Like there's stages of the immune system. Like it originally comes out and gives you a dose of stuff and surrounds the virus, and then it goes up, and then it ramps up, and then it reboots, and then it like sends another part. It was like 4 stages of what your immune system does, and because it has to be ramped up to attack this virus, it could actually hurt you more than the virus.
Well, here it says, what does dexamethasone do? Dexamethasone is a corticosteroid hormone that decreases the body's natural immune response and reduces swelling and allergic reaction symptoms. This medication treats a number of conditions, including asthma, IBS, Crohn's disease, and a number of lymphomas. It is used to treat COVID-19 because serious cases can provoke an exaggerated immune response, releasing a large number of pro-inflammatory cytokines, in which is known as a cytokine storm. I've heard of that. As immunosuppressant, dexamethasone is thought to help reduce the likelihood of the body's overreaction to the virus. Researchers found dexamethasone to significantly reduce mortality among seriously ill, i.e. hospitalized COVID-19 patients. Scientists have said it may prevent 1 in 3 deaths among patients on ventilators.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they threw the kitchen sink at it immediately.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, you're the president of the United States. You should get everything they possibly have.
All I'm getting at this by fucking with you here is that in these times where things are very unsure, a lot of times people like to say exactly what you need to do and what's happening.
Right.
As long as people do this, we're okay. As long as we wear a mask, we're okay. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the case.
Okay,
I think we're all going to get it. That's what I think.
Well, that is
Within 3 years,
the
4
reality
years.
of what I'm saying. That doctor's saying that it goes 18 months.
But I don't know if
Because-
18 months mean everybody gets it. You're going to come in contact with it.
Right.
And some people's immune system just beats it.
That's what I kind of, after looking at it globally last night, and what that doctor said of this timeline, which is total hearsay, but it seems to make sense. It made me think all of this is noise and us all freaking out. What about my job? What about the mask? What about this? What do we do? Is it real? Is it not? And we're all freaking out, and it's going to run its course either way. Despite how crazy we get, this virus is going to run its course, and in a year and a half, it's going to kind of
Exactly. Listen to what you're saying. You're talking as if you know what's going to happen.
I'm guessing.
But see what people do? You just sort of lay it out. People do this at cocktail parties. Like you say, yeah, well, we got to do. This is how it's going to go. Yeah, and you feel comforted by that.
Of course,
comforted by that, and then you go home. And
Well,
you try to relax.
if you say this, if you say to a room full of people, I feel like I'm getting something. Everybody there knows what to do.
They run away from you.
You got to take zinc. You got to take this. You got right. You chicken soup. You know what you got to do. You got to get ginger. There's this ginger drink. Everybody has the idea, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like we're all trying to control the universe, but this thing's gonna run its course. It's gonna happen. We don't really have that much control over
Well,
it.
it's insanely contagious. Santino caught it giving a guy a ride home. 10-minute ride home with the windows open, and he caught it.
No mask.
No, they weren't wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy didn't know he had it. No symptoms, no coughing,
Right.
no nothing.
Right.
Gives him a ride home for 10 minutes.
How did he know that was the guy?
Because the guy called him afterwards, a couple days later, and says, I got it.
Oh.
And then Santino's like, fuck. And then a couple days after that, Santino has it.
I like Fauci. He looks like a little guy from the Bronx, and he's kind of makes me feel comfortable. And he's in the administration, part of the Trump team, and he's saying, please, just wear the mask.
Yes. But, initially he didn't say that. And the reason why he didn't say that is because he wanted to make sure there's masks for first responders.
Right.
The problem with that means he lied. That means he said something that he knew wasn't true.
I'm not perfect. Everybody lies.
He said something he knew wasn't true because he wanted people to react in a certain way. But then he still expects them to trust him after that.
Well,
I'm not saying you shouldn't trust him.
I hear you.
I'm not saying it's wise or unwise, but I'm saying in that circumstance, I wouldn't have recommended he do that.
Of course not.
I mean, the idea was that we were panicked, and he thought, like, look, if I tell people everybody get a mask, then there's going to be this nationwide shortage of masks.
100%. I read this article of countries that have done better than other countries. South Korea, New Zealand. They have advantages about
Isolation
and all that kind of stuff, and fewer people. But the main thing that they were saying is communication. Tell people the truth, and they'll react accordingly, and it calms the hysteria, and it puts trust in the people that are giving you the advice. So if he had come out and said, masks are important, use a bandana, and leave these for the healthcare workers, these are very important that these people on the front lines get it, that would have been so much better, because then we wouldn't have the discussion when he comes out in September. My friend who's a doctor says the
bandanas are useless.
They look cool, though.
Not really.
They look better than the plastic ones.
If you weren't in a pandemic and you're wearing a bandana over your face like that, you look either a douchebag or a bank robber. Like,
what about when you pull it down around your neck?
Then
you look
you're a weirdo.
You look like you're at Studio 54.
You're a Chris Christopherson fan. Or you're a guy who's at the range. Like a lot of guys at the gun range, they'll put bandanas around their neck because shells come flying, hot shells.
Right.
And they can land in your collar and burn your neck.
I like it. I used to wear it when I was on my motorcycle. I would wear a bandana up for that same reason, for the road stuff.
That makes sense.
And then you walk into the bar afterwards and you pull it down.
Look like a badass.
And you look like a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. You take that little disposable paper thing and put it down on your neck. No one's looking at you.
My friend Jeff, who's a doctor, he said that's the worst thing you can wear is those bandanas. He said, yeah, he said cloth masks are better. They're thicker. They'll protect you more. He goes, but you really want an N95 mask.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
Yeah.
I've been, in my travels, I've been on 4 or 5 round-trip flights, and I've been wearing the paper one, the disposable ones.
Yeah, the paper ones are okay as long as they're easiest to breathe in, which makes me suspicious.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think if it's airborne, I don't know if that shit is blocking that much. I don't.
I know. I'm wearing the bandana. I'm suffocating. So then I put on the disposable one. I'm like, oh, this is good. I can go all the way to New York like this.
What do you think's larger? The virus in the air in aerosol or fart particles? Because I guarantee you.
That made me suspicious too, because
someone has a hard fart.
There was I got on the tram in Denver and at like 8 a.m, and someone let a meaty one out. I mean, one of those lasagna farts. And the whole place, we're all in masks, and everyone was horrified. I'm like, how strong are these?
Did anyone say anything?
No, they didn't have to. You saw facial expressions.
People should have said something.
There was a couple. I made eye contact with the lady next to me. We both gave an eye roll just to tell each other it wasn't us. But somebody let it through, and I'm like, if this fart's getting through.
Joey Diaz farted on a plane. It was so bad, I wrote a story about it. I did. I wrote fucking. It's called Happy Pills. It's probably still out there on the internet somewhere. It was on my blog, but he cut a fart that was so bad, and I was in the middle of thinking about life and people getting older. I was thinking and I was listening to Jimi Hendrix, and I was high, and he cut this fart, and this lady behind us goes, "Oh my God!" And he starts laughing. He starts laughing, and I put my shirt over my face. I'm like, oh my God. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Oh, it's the worst. Some are so powerful.
Look at that. If a fart can make it through pants, how can a mask protect you from a virus? Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Who wrote this article?
This is back
Johnny
in
Farks
May,
a lot.
like a Yahoo News thing. The fart particles are way smaller, apparently.
Kristen
By
May.
Oh, Dr. McQueef.
1,000 times smaller.
Dr. McQueef is...
Fart particles are smaller than the virus?
Yeah, that's why.
Wow.
It's,
Tiny, stinky fart molecules. Well, C4 3SH is a rather small molecule with a diameter around. Oh my God! They've like they've measured farts.
Yeah, this is science.
By comparison, viruses typically range in diameter for much larger. COVID-19 being about 60 to 140 nm. I don't know what that means. What is
nanometers,
nanometers?
or molars, or I'm not sure.
Okay, so farts are smaller.
Yep.
The virus is 100 to 1,000 times bigger than a fart molecule. What about if a virus goes through farts? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Go back to that. He goes, they explain how N95 masks work. Look at that. N95 mask is capable of filtering 95% of test aerosol containing the average particle size of 300 nm. Basically, N95 mask has a tight weave pattern with multiple layers that serve as a barrier to larger structures like viruses or simply spittle.
Yeah,
Okay.
that works. That stuff works. There's a reason doctors wear that stuff for all sorts of things,
Yeah.
right? Keith Robinson once, my good pal and comedian, we were at Frisco's across from Radio City Music Hall. It's a steakhouse.
Del Frisco's? Yeah, it's a
You're
great place. Yeah.
Great place. Huge. It's 2 floors, but there's no ceiling over the first floor dining section, so it's just like, I don't know, 50 feet high in the air. We had this big dinner, the steak dinner. I mean, it's a massive place with huge ventilation. Like, you could do a show there now in the middle of a pandemic and everyone would be safe. And he farted on our way out of there. He crop dusted the whole place. Other tables were putting napkins over their faces,
Really?
dropping silverware.
It was that bad?
It was that bad. Just
Wow.
toxic.
What was he eating?
I don't know.
It's usually
He's
a mixture
old. He's
of
decaying.
things.
What's that?
It's a mixture of things. It's
Yeah.
usually like when you mix broccoli and meat.
Whoa, or
You
some
know?
beans. Some beans. Following that up. No, it's disgusting. No, but I was like, but by the way, I leave, the reason I started like even looking at like the perception of it all and trying to look at it in a global way is because it is confusing. It's this whole thing is very confusing, and that we're in the middle of a election makes it so confusing because everyone's using whatever little information they have to their advantage. But there's also the confusion of I'm in LA, I go to LAX. Joe, I could have gotten there 5 minutes before my flight.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy going through security. I walk right up to the gate and get on the plane. Like no traffic going down, no
Yeah.
wait at all. That's unheard of. And I land in Denver. It's like it's 2018. Packed. You know that big...
Yeah, that's real America, Tom.
you
That's
know-
what I was telling you.
I know.
You're living in this bullshit, liberal, communist, Marxist, phony state. It's a nation state, and it's controlled by a dictator named Gavin Newsom, and he wants you to be poor.
Why would he want me to be poor?
He wants more hair. He wants to use your money to grow his hair thicker.
You ever see his sexy shot? Have you ever
Get a sexy shot?
You ever saw the sexy shot? Who was the woman that gave that he used to date? Who's now on the Trump?
Oh, that was
she
his
gave-
wife.
that was
Donald
his
Trump's
wife?
Jr.'s girlfriend is his ex-wife.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I had no idea. Did you
Before
ever
he
see the
ruined
sexy
San
shot that
Francisco.
they made together?
Before he ruined San Francisco, they were together.
Yeah, they're laying on like a bearskin rug.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, they call them the new Kennedys. Jamie is. You got
Oh
it.
boy. Oh, what? Who let them take that picture? Who? Why would you do that? It's funny. Jimmy Kimmel used that. Why would you do that?
Is that hilarious?
Who said yes to that?
What serious politician poses on the floor with your knee up?
The kind that wants to wreck a whole state. We've got to get the lockdown.
I have to say, when he was giving the speeches in the beginning of the lockdown, I liked hearing him.
Well, he sounds good.
He does
He's a
sound
handsome man. He looks very distinguished.
His voice is good. It's
But
a little
the
raspy.
draconian laws, these draconian enforcements, the way they're handling it, it's just
What state do you think is handling it the right way? Like, where do you think it? Who's got kind of like it down?
Florida.
You think?
They're like, buck wild. Let's go. Florida doesn't give a fuck. Disney World,
Concerts.
you're open.
Jimmy Buffett
Next.
concerts.
You can do whatever you want.
I know.
We could do stand up in an arena in Florida, and
I
I'm not
know.
kidding.
I know.
No social distancing, no mask requirement.
Now, what's happening to their numbers? They did this, 2 weeks ago?
They're fine. Everyone's getting stronger and younger. They're going back. They're going back in time.
You never get any older and you never die.
They look better than they have ever looked. They're the only ones free in this whole country. They're the most American people in America.
Freedom is kind of overrated, don't you think?
Listen to this fucking communist. They got you beaten down. I understand you have a mortgage. You got to stay in California. You're trying to swallow the Kool-Aid.
No,
You're taking
I
it
would-
down in sperm-like chunks. You're just trying to swallow it. And the chunky sauce of Gavin Newsom. You're sucking it down your pipe right now.
But there's no difference. What's the difference? Restaurants?
You can't go to comedy clubs. You can't go to restaurants. You can't go to movie
can only go to
theaters.
comedy clubs in
You can't go to
certain places.
retail stores.
You can go to retail stores.
You can't go to any retail store in a mall that doesn't have an outside entrance.
What?
Yes.
My
The
wife
mall-
was just at the mall.
Yes, you can go to like Nordstrom's because they got an outside entrance.
She
But
went to
the
Keel's,
stuff
which
inside.
is inside.
Well, unless they've changed it recently, that's how.
Oh,
it was
it's a whole
before.
euphoria now. You got to come. You got to move back. It's
He's
amazing
a
now.
propagandist. I told you, Jamie. I told you we can't have him on. He's done. He's got a fever.
I just got tested.
I
I'm
know
all
you
right.
you are negative, but
I
I
am
want to
negative.
test your forehead. I want to see if you got something else. I want to see if you have a fever.
What is the difference between L.A. and I'm asking this honestly because I was kind of trying to figure it out because I do
Honestly,
feel
all fucking around. People are less scared here.
yes,
They're first of all, they're way friendlier here.
yeah,
It just seems more relaxed. You can work. You can go to work. You wear a mask and you
Right.
go to work.
right.
And I'm sure there are some cases, but deaths are way down everywhere in the country. You know
Well,
that.
yeah,
I mean,
because-
they used to be climbing. Now it's like it was 208,000 people. Now it's 209,000 people. When you're dealing with 320 million plus people,
Mm-hmm.
it's a relatively small number of people dying from it. So they have the remedies better. They have the
Treatment.
the different treatments better.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it still sucks. I don't want to get it, but everybody that I know that's got it has kicked it pretty easy except Michael Yo. And Michael Yo was in a bad state when he
Right.
got it. He was really run down.
Right.
But
He'd
broken down.
yeah, he'd been traveling a lot.
And he has low vitamin D.
Right.
Admittedly, he wasn't taking vitamin D, which is
Yeah.
apparently a big factor in your immune system.
I do feel like that's probably like the places that I've been. They're not ignoring it. It's not Florida.
You can't.
They're not
ignore
ignoring it.
Florida. I don't even think Florida's really ignoring it. But the governor, all bullshit aside, the governor put a chart up and he was saying the issue that we really need to concern ourselves with is people 70 plus. Like 70
Right.
plus are the ones who have a significant risk of dying. And he was saying everybody else, what we really need to consider is the people that have underlying conditions. And we need to, those people. I mean, this is what should have been done all along. The people that are at high risk
Yeah.
should have been sheltered.
Right.
But shutting everything down is an economic disaster.
Right.
That's where we're at.
Right.
And they shut the Comedy Store down when they were trying to do shows outside in the parking lot.
I
with,
know.
with a fucking snot shield in front of everybody.
I know.
They had a big glass shield in front of the audience.
Yeah.
And they still said no. Outside.
No, it's ridiculous. And
You can
comedy
open up
clubs.
a restaurant outside, but you can't do stand-up in the parking lot of the store?
I don't get that at all because there's literally no difference. And I've performed in a lot of places. I was in a casino in Connecticut. And everyone's wearing masks, everyone's doing the right thing.
I'd rather catch COVID than do a casino in Connecticut.
I'm not proud of it, but I'm not
How dare he!
I'm not proud of it, but I just
Which
had
casino?
I had to go see my family and Mohegan Sun. And doing the shows was so great. Oh, the Comedy Store documentary. I got to see it for my radio show. I got to see all the way through. They sent it to me in advance. It's really good.
It's heavy.
It's really great. There's a real depth to it. Your part is amazing, and it's just amazing. Like what you did for that club was, everybody kind of knows like how you had such an impact on it. But actually seeing it, we're with you all the time, and you see but seeing like in a documentary style, starting with the Mencia of it and getting to now, man, it made me want to kiss you right on the lips.
Is that a threat? He's threatening me now. Jesus, Jamie.
Really,
He's
Joe.
come here.
It really is such a great thing, because to have such a historic place that was so bright and great and then really decimated and fell on its ass, and you're really the force that brought it back to this, was like, it was just great. It was so great. And watching your story was really, really cool.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
It was heavy. It was weird to make. I cried a bunch of times thinking about Mitzi,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
thinking about the old days. But what it was like to come there,
Yeah.
just to be a paid regular there. It's it's such a polarizing place. So many people have a negative impression of it because it's such a difficult club, and there's so many killers there, and a lot of people just didn't feel like they got the respect that they deserved there. But it's not the case. You needed a higher level.
It's hard.
You're going up. You're on a lineup with 15 murderers, and everyone's killing in front of you. And there's a lot of people that would go there, and they would have like sort of mediocre sets, and they would be upset because they had a career. Like they'd be on television shows, they'd be doing things.
Yeah.
And the Comedy Store would be like, oh, we don't have any spots for you. They'd be like, what the fuck? And they would harbor this terrible resentment, and they would talk about it like years later. They would say, I had to prove myself at that place. Like, hey man, everybody had to prove themselves at that place. They don't give a fuck if you're on a TV show.
Nope.
They don't give a fuck. No one cares.
No. And it's not an easy place. Just like take the booking out of it.
Yeah.
Getting up and performing in any of those rooms, you got to be good.
You gotta bring it.
And you not only have to be good, you have to learn that room.
Yeah.
All those rooms. It's
gotta bring it.
tough. Yeah, it's a tough place.
But the exciting thing is the people that do come through, and the people
Yeah.
that are coming up, like Laura Beats, like Annie Letterman, like all these young kids that are coming up.
So great.
Ali Makovsky, and then you have these people that are they're there and established and looking to break through, like Tony
Yeah.
Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Guys who are killers.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
And it makes you like, if you
makes
can
you.
stick it
Yeah.
out, it
Yeah.
really does make you.
But for some people, like they liked the UCB, they liked these places where they could go and
Comforting.
everything was relaxed.
Everybody's
and,
supporting.
Yeah,
Everyone loves you.
It was a lower level of comedy, and the audience was a little bit more enthusiastic about laughing. and
Yeah, and no one's gonna bomb.
there's a darkness to the store that's undeniable, and I think it comes from it being Ciro's nightclub, because it was Bugsy Siegel's nightclub, and people were legitimately murdered there.
I know.
That is 100%
basement.
fact. People were murdered at the Comedy Store.
Yeah. Who owned Ciro's? Was it
Bugsy
Mafia?
Siegel.
Bugsy Siegel owned
Bugsy
it?
Siegel owned Ciro's. Dude, there
I
was
thought he just
old
hung
school
there.
pictures. There's old school pictures of Ciro's that are amazing, where you could see the stage where we perform on, but instead Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin are on that stage.
Amazing.
Yeah, doing a live show.
Now, what is that? Because there are places that the place has a magic to it,
Yeah.
right? There
Yeah.
are places that
Yeah.
just undeniably succeed, and there's other places that never really get it going. And I'm talking about restaurants or a hotel, or just like there's a magic to certain
I think
spots.
things have memory. Rupert Sheldrake believed this. He believed that he's an intellectual. I forget what his actual discipline is. Isn't he a biologist? What is Rupert Sheldrake? He's a mathematician. I forget what he exactly does. But he has this concept that everything has memory. And he believed in this thing called morphic resonance, that all these things are connected in some sort of indescribable, unmeasurable way. But I'm probably butchering that. But he also believes that things have memory, a type of memory. And this is the reason why people don't want to live in a house where someone was murdered.
Right.
Yeah.
You
And
can feel it.
yeah. You don't want to buy a car that someone blew their brains out in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Remember that
do.
movie, Stephen King movie, Christine?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So great.
Better book. Book's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that, but it really is.
Yeah.
It's more.
I never read the book.
book is way more in depth, and it's a slower process of the kid who owns the car going crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's it's someone died in the car. The guy who owned it haunted the car.
So great.
I think that was the story, that someone died in the car.
So great. No, things definitely.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't even want to buy an asshole's car. Like if you had some person who's really mean, who's a real shitty person, you wouldn't buy their car, like drive around their car.
No, like when you
It'd
go
feel
look,
weird.
like when you go to buy a car or buy a house, there you walk in and you know if it fits you.
Yes.
Like that's a thing.
Sure.
It's a vibe. That's
Yeah.
you get it.
Yeah.
You know, there's something there. There's something beyond what you're seeing.
Yeah, like if you buy a house and you meet the owner and you get along great with them and you're real friendly, like
Yeah.
that's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we bought Mike's house.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's a
all
little
good.
story to it.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
thing with the store. There is really a long story of show business
Yeah.
in that spot.
And it's got many edges to it, which is just like comedy. The thing that I loved about the store is not just that it's this historic place where all these great comics started out, like Kinnison and Richard Pryor, and all these people made their mark there. But it's also a place where everybody worked out. There's failure in that room too.
Yeah.
There's the potential for failure. It's not a place where you film things all the time and everything's perfect and it's all
Right.
polished and no,
You work.
it's a gym.
Right.
It's got edge to it, and it's got, there's people went up on stage there too drunk. They went up coked up.
Right.
They failed. They got in fights with audience members.
Yeah.
It's got so much humanity to it.
The coolest part, I think, of the old crew was watching the Jim Carrey stuff. How, he was kicking ass and pretty successful and killing in the room and then changes his act and sucks for a long time as he's leaving the impressions and going into other stuff. And I mean, the balls of that in that room, and you just see him in the hallway. There's pictures of him just sweating. He's just drenched out 'cause he doesn't know what he's doing, but that they supported him and let him do that in that room like that. Because, when you're there, people are throwing fastballs. Everyone's great and everyone's killing. And then you've got to be humble to get up there and really stick to your guns and try your new shit and suck.
And when you saw the old guys that aren't really around anymore, was it Tim Thomerson? Is that one of them?
Yeah.
You saw these guys that
They said was like a killer.
He seemed like a killer.
Yeah.
But you realize like, oh, these guys come in waves.
I know.
I mean, there's these guys like if you don't know any better, like you might not know who Rick Ingram is,
Right.
But you might have to follow that motherfucker.
Right.
And he's throwing some 94 miles an hour right down the pipe. Woo!
You're there with your new notes.
Good luck, bitch.
Yeah.
Or you might go on after Sarah Silverman murders, or you might go on after Eliza Schlesinger gets a fucking standing ovation.
Yeah.
That place is crazy, man.
I know.
And it was filled with good feelings and bad feelings, and there was a lot of emotions, and there was a lot of arguments, and there was a lot of tension.
Yep.
But the last few years was the most camaraderie, the most warmth and supportive that I've ever felt it there.
Oh, 100%.
And I think I attribute that to the internet, and I attribute that to podcasts because I felt like it was a time of bounty. It wasn't a time of famine. And in the past, everyone had this famine mentality because like if you got a sitcom and I was trying out for the same part, I felt like you took something from me. Like, fuck, there's only
Right.
one part in the sitcom and Tom got it. Or if you were trying out for a game show or you're trying out for a talk show.
Yeah.
And there's, 5 of us are out for it and one of us gets it. So there's this weird, creepy competitiveness.
Right.
And if you were on a morning radio show and then there was a guy who was across town that was on the radio at the same time, you weren't his buddy.
Right.
Like, we're friends,
Right.
and we also have podcasts. And I
Right.
tell people, listen to Tom Papa's podcast.
Right.
Listen to Tom Papa's radio show.
Right.
Listen to Fortune Feimster and Tom Papa on Sirius.
Yeah.
They're both great.
There's a camaraderie.
There's a different thing now.
It's
like,
very
we
true.
support each other. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think of you and Fortune as being competitors. I think of you being my friends.
Oh, you should.
Whew.
What Fortune says about you when you're
Oh,
not
no.
around.
Oh, no.
Boy. Rogan
Fortune, I
this,
love
Rogan
you.
that.
Fortune, I
How
love
are we
you.
gonna kill
Why? Why? But there's none of that in this community. Like, everybody does everybody's podcast.
That's a great insight.
It's never happened before.
No.
Never been like that before.
No. Yeah, I mean, even when we started.
Guys helped each other before a little bit, but only if it didn't hurt them.
Right.
Now
Right.
you don't have to worry about it hurting you. It only helps you.
And-
like if I help you, it only helps me because people know you're funny and they
Right.
go, "Oh, I can listen to Joe because every time he tells me about a comic, I know they're funny."
Right.
Because he's telling the truth.
That's right.
Which is why I won't have people on that suck. And I've had people ask, And I'm like, I
Right.
can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes people get real edgy when they don't get a response.
no.
I have to hide. I have to
That's
filter
brutal.
myself. I have to change my phone number.
That's where Jamie comes in.
Jamie
he
doesn't-
should insulate.
Good luck getting through Jamie. Jamie's Fort Knox, motherfucker. You ain't getting through that wall.
I think about Jamie every time something technologically doesn't work. I'm like,
He'll
Jamie
figure it
can
out.
fix this in a second.
He'll figure it out. But as far as like getting through to him to get to the show, he is the least approachable. It's impossible.
I remember when I got a pilot or something, and early on, and Geraldo, Greg Geraldo, was my friend, said we all went out to dinner with Esty and Manny from the Comedy Cellar, and Greg and his wife, and myself and my wife, and Greg took me aside, and he said, "Dude, this is how much I love you. I am genuinely happy for you. I know people say like, oh, I'm happy for you and stuff goes, but it was so unusual to truly be happy for other comedians that he had to take me aside and say, no joke. I am so happy for you. And he didn't have his own ego involved.
Yeah.
He didn't have any of that. And at that time, you're right. That was an unusual
rare.
position to be in.
It was rare. I mean, there's only a few friends that I had that we were real tight like that all throughout comedy, like Joey Diaz for sure,
Always
Ari
rooting for
Shaffir,
him.
always Duncan Trussell. There's a lot of those guys that I was real tight with from the beginning.
Yeah.
But Greg was, Greg Giraldo, not just Fitzsimmons, just such a smart person, just an interesting person. You know, I was really lucky. I knew Greg from New York, but we also were on the set together because News Radio was being filmed right next to his show when he
Common
had.
Law. Mm-hmm. Right.
We were on the same set.
Oh, wow.
So I would hang out with him all the time. We'd go out in the parking lot. I'd run into him.
Wow.
And we knew each other from L.A.
That's
or from
great.
New York. You know.
That was a fun time.
And also the John Larroquette show was there too. And I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah?
Wasn't Lenny Clark on the John Larroquette show?
That sounds
I'm
familiar.
pretty sure Lenny Clark was on that show.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds familiar.
But that was there too. Was it Lenny Clark? Was he on that show?
Misspelled there.
I think. Yeah, that's a hard one. Good luck spelling that. Lenny Clark was on that?
In TV shows such as Concert the Rob and John Larroquette Show.
Yes. Okay. So Lenny was there too.
Well,
I'm trying to remember it. But I didn't run into Lenny as much, but I ran into, and also, you know who else was there? Joey Lawrence.
oh, really?
Yeah, Joey Lawrence. We used to sit in his car with his fabulous hair. I was always so jealous of his hair because it was right when my hair was really like struggling. And he would sit in his car, and he was like fucking 12 years old.
Yeah.
There's Lenny Clark.
Oh, yeah. Look at him.
I love that motherfucker.
God, what a force.
Yeah.
And Ron Funches.
That's not Ron.
Oh.
Son of a bitch.
Looks like
This
Ron.
guy's so much older than Ron. Shut up. Be mean to Ron. Lenny Clark. So they were right next door, and
Wow.
Joey Lawrence, his show was there, and so he would sit in his car. He had like, he's like fucking 12 years old or something,
Yeah.
and he had some ridiculous. He was probably 20,
Yeah,
but he had some
Mercedes or-
ridiculously expensive car that I could never afford, and he'd be playing his own music.
Yeah.
So he had his door open, and he'd be like sitting there jamming to his own music really loud. I'm
His
like,
own music?
Yeah. And I'd be like, look at that guy living the life. All I could think of is like, how many girls must be throwing themselves at Joey Lawrence?
Oh, my God.
He's there playing his own music. There he is. Look at him. Look at his
That's so
hair.
great.
It's beautiful. I've never had hair that good.
Me
Ever.
I
When
had
was
it for like a
7.
week.
When I was 7, my hair wasn't that thick. Yeah, like this. Yeah.
It's great.
There he is.
Yeah, that 80s like graffiti in the back and the big jackets.
the jacket
he looks
with
like Madonna.
And he does look like Madonna.
He looks like Madonna.
He's got this. Why does he have this shirt tied around his waist? I feel like you could give that to shirts. You're filming. Hand that shirt off to somebody. Is that like a look?
See, Joe, that's why you were never a heartthrob. You don't understand the intricacies.
There's a lot of reasons why I was never a heartthrob. I'm not good looking enough. But that
He's adorable.
it's a different look that he's got.
Oh, I love picturing him in his
Yeah.
in his car listening to his own music.
Yeah.
It's
That's
so
what he would
great.
do. And we would be like, well, look at that kid. Living the life. Living La Vida Loca.
I remember that when Greg was doing that show, he had this guy that was running the show who was just like, you didn't know anybody from LA who wrote shows, so they just matched him up with some guy, and he came by the cellar, and I met him, and it was just like, when you meet people who like, they just don't give a shit. Like you could tell he was just getting paid, and it's just another pilot. He's gonna have 50 more. He's already done 25, and we were like, you should really do this for Greg, and he was just like, yeah, and you just knew in his eyes like this guy's not really gonna help Greg.
Well, people don't know what we're talking about, but we should try to explain that there was a time where you would go to the Montreal Comedy Festival and you get a development deal.
Yeah.
And this is like everybody would cash in.
Yeah.
You go get a development deal, and then they would try to do a pilot.
Yeah.
And I knew so many people that lost their fucking minds when they got deals to do a pilot. I had a phone call from this guy, and I'm not going to say his name, but he was a terrible comedian. He calls me up and he says, hey, listen, I know you got a show that you're working on right now, but I'm telling you, my show is going to go to air, and I want you to play my brother. I was like, what? He's like, I know it's a smaller show, but this show's guaranteed to air. Never aired.
Of course not.
And he starts telling me all these crazy things, like there's a guaranteed pickup, and if this doesn't pick up, then NBC Universal's got second position, and they're going to pick it up. Like, he was drinking the Kool-Aid. It was like the craziest conversation.
It's hard
And
the first time around.
Nothing ever happened for
Yeah.
him. Nothing. Nothing ever happened for him. When I mean nothing, I mean
Right.
nothing. I mean, that went away, and then he never really had a stand-up career, never had anything.
Who was it again?
I'm not saying. But the conversation was so bizarre.
Yeah.
Because he called me up. I was in the middle of filming something. And he was telling me, listen, forget that bullshit.
Yeah.
I've got a thing. This is going to go.
It hits people's
100%.
egos.
It hit so many people.
Yeah.
Where they
That
were-
ego.
I knew someone who all of a sudden had an assistant. I'm like, why do you have an assistant?
Right.
Like, what do you... I don't
Just
have an
got
assistant.
off the plane. Right.
I tell people, don't get an assistant. Do less shit. If you ever
Right.
need an
That's
assistant,
smart.
just do less things.
Sarah says that too. Sarah Silverman says that.
Smart lady.
Yeah.
That's the move.
Yeah.
Do less things.
Right.
You don't need a fucking assistant. Like, what are you doing?
Some people like it. It's the ego stroke of it.
Exactly.
They know that famous people have assistants, and
Someone
they
shows
know
up
that.
with a pad. Starts like, what would you like, Tom? Latte? Grande latte, Tom.
Yeah, coming up with stuff for them to do.
But the problem with assistants is sometimes they taser you. Like David Spade's assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Fucking guy tried to
There's a
kill
lot
him.
of those stories.
That guy wanted to kill him.
Too close.
Yeah.
Way too close.
Yeah, well, maybe David wasn't nice to him. I mean, let's just...
No.
I mean, probably not that big a stretch to say he felt a little demeaned. I mean, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm sure you could misconstrue Spade's.
Could be.
Well, just his attitude.
The smug asides.
Yeah, that's
he
how
just
he
thought he was
talks.
serious.
He thought he was
Yeah,
serious.
but meanwhile,
Exactly.
it was just jokes. It was just jokes.
But that was a heady time. I kind of just missed that time, because that was the way for comedians was the sitcom.
Yeah.
That was the Roseanne, the Seinfeld,
Exactly.
all those.
Everybody was
on down.
convinced that was what you needed to do.
That was the formula.
And so you would do it, and then you would get on a show, and then hopefully people would come to see you at comedy clubs. That's my strategy. I was hoping I could get a special somewhere, and I was
Right.
hoping someone would come to see me at comedy clubs.
I had the thing where I just never thought I was ready for it. Like even when I had like my first pilot, it was like, yeah, we'll see. And like guys with huge egos would be like, this is my thing. I'm gonna make this the thing. And I was always like, I don't know if I'm really.
People might think I have a huge ego.
Good enough.
Because it seems like I do. But honestly, I've never thought that anything that I was doing was going to work.
Yeah.
I always thought it was going to be canceled. I never thought, I did jokes about Fear Factor being canceled the very moment it was on the air. And I'm like, I'm doing this show. It is not going to fucking last.
Right.
They're sicking dogs on people and making them eat animal dicks. How long are we going to do this? Or even news radio. That was a great show to kind of check your ego, because I was only one of 8 people, and the other people, especially Phil Hartman and Dave Foley, were much more famous than me and
Sure.
much more talented. And it was
Right.
it was like I had an opportunity to do like an apprenticeship. Like I had an opportunity to learn what it's like to act. I took a few acting classes,
Right.
private lessons when I had gotten a development deal, but I never acted.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, a couple of months later, I'm on TV. Like literally,
Jeez.
very little preparation, and I'm sitting there next to Phil Hartman
It's so
on a
crazy.
TV show. And if you watch those old news radios, it looks like it. Like, because my character had to be kind of like kind of innocent and stupid,
Yeah.
and I was like really into conspiracies, which they made
That's so funny.
because of me, because I
Yeah.
really was really into conspiracies. They kind of turned my character that way. But while I was there, I was kind of like, was this really happening? Like even while I was doing it.
Well, that's what's wild about it is a lot of moments in this
look
career.
at me, oh,
You
so cute,
oh, adorable.
fresh faced
Look
27-year-old.
at that, 27.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
It's weird because you get into a situation where you have to be great at it while you're learning it.
Yeah.
Like that is a.
But the thing is that,
But you were surrounded by good people,
and it's sitcom acting,
right?
and stand up is harder than that. And I had already been doing stand up for 6 years.
But did you believe that when you walked in there? Didn't you think this has got to be harder?
no,
No, you.
it's definitely easier.
Oh, I know it is. But when you first showed up on set, weren't you scared? Like
No,
I don't know this.
no, I thought it was easier for
You did?
sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was definitely easier because you could do it again. Like you did in front of a live audience if you fucked up. Like we fucked up all the time. We would
Right.
laugh about it and then we would do a retake.
Right.
Like I was always laughing when I would do scenes with Andy Dick. I could never keep it together.
Oh, really?
I try to keep a straight face and I would always crack. He was so funny, man. I mean, he's so self-destructive and so crazy, but so fucking talented.
So
Andy Dick
talented.
is literally one of the funniest human beings I've ever done anything with. Just so, but you can't, after a while, you're like, I can't
Yeah.
do this anymore. You're just too crazy.
Yeah.
But so talented. And when he and I had this weird sort of dynamic on the show, and we had these hilarious scenes together, and and he would, it was so hard to do. So you would be able to like fuck up and laugh, and then the audience actually got a kick out of it.
Yeah, of
because they got to
course.
see how the sausage was made.
Right.
They got to see the behind the scenes.
Because you're breaking.
But way easier. If you flub a line, they give it to you, you redo it. It's 100
Yeah.
times easier than
Oh, it
stand-up.
is. Yeah. But when you don't know it, yours was the Ray Romano role, right?
Well, sort of. I took the Ray Romano role that someone else took. See, what happens is Ray got fired from the pilot. They brought in another guy for the pilot.
Oh, okay.
That guy did the pilot. There was another guy in the original episode of News Radio that played me. And then they
Ah.
fired that guy. And then I entered into a cattle call. And there was like 100 dudes that auditioned for the part. And I wound up getting it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's good.
But I had a development deal with NBC to do my own show.
Oh, so they could use your contract and put you in that?
Yeah, so in the middle of the development deal, they're trying to find me writers. We're talking about different projects.
Yeah.
And they say to me, hey, we have this show we'd like you to look at. And they showed me this pilot, which is fucking genius. And I just come from this Fox show, which started off really good. The writers were hilarious.
Yeah.
They were really good writers. They wrote for The Simpsons. They wrote for Married with Children. They were excellent.
Yeah.
But they got fucked over hard. They brought in this hack producer and just ruined the show. And all these network executives are getting their fucking spittle-laden fingers all over everything. It was
That's what's so
awful.
hard. That's what's so hard is that anytime you get that many people on anything, any organization, the idea that's where the luck comes in. That all those people are going to be cool and not ruin it. It's just something that's waiting to be ruined.
Yeah, everything where you get a lot of people together and try to
Yeah.
create an art piece, good luck.
Tough.
Sometimes it works.
Yeah, but that's like why the great directors, like the Soderberghs and the Nolans and stuff,
James Cameron's.
they end up working with a lot of the same people all the time.
Adam Sandler does that as well.
Yeah, because you have some control over
Right.
the universe.
Well, you also know how each other works, and you all have a common goal, and
Yeah.
you've done it before, so you know how to do it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
or you have these people that are these super powerful figures like Cameron,
Right.
who just takes control of everything. I've heard like James Cameron will grab a paintbrush, give me that fucking thing. You don't know what you're doing, and he'll like paint the wall because he's just like he's got a vision. And if they let him do it, you get Avatar.
Right. Right.
Otherwise, you get fucking a bunch of other people, and then you get like one of the more recent Star Wars movies.
Right.
You get a bunch
Yeah.
of people trying to add this and that and
Yeah.
use
It
a
just ends up
formula
like
and
Avatar.
blah.
Avatar.
You get dog shit.
Yeah.
You get dog shit.
And that was the guy back to the Geraldo thing, when I saw that guy, I knew he was one of those guys. It was just like, and then it just ended up like, that's not Greg.
Well, after I did News Radio, I did have a development deal to do another show. I think I might have had 2 different development deals. I had one, then another one afterwards. But I was like really soured because News Radio was so good, and the directors and the producers and the actors and everyone, the writers were so fucking good.
Those
that
scripts were really great.
I would read this other stuff and I'd be like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
I can't do. And also, it's the risk of the crew that we had were hard partiers that were really fun people. Like me and Foley and Maura and some of the other folks on the show. We would get hammered. I mean,
When?
after the show. After the show film, we'd go to like local bars. We'd walk to a local bar, or we'd drink on the set. We would get blasted. Like, they were partiers.
Yeah.
Like, especially Foley. He loved to drink. And it was like there was a camaraderie to that. It was like, and we always felt like we were outcasts. We never made it, you know?
Yeah.
That show didn't become famous really until after it was canceled.
Yeah. I remember thinking about writing and getting some news radio scripts from my agent. They were so funny.
They're brilliant.
They were
Paul
so
Sims
tight.
is a legitimate genius.
They were tight.
Yeah.
But what a cool thing to be in that kind of an environment, because a lot of times you end up like playing like a dad or something, and it's like you had like your comedic brothers around you. Like, that's like a pirate ship.
It was like punk rock a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
like we were doing this show, but we knew that we were the underdogs. Like, we
Yeah.
never had a good time slot. We only had a good time slot once. They put us on like After Friends once, and we were like number 3. We're like, holy shit. And we realized that's what it takes. You have to be on after a really good show.
How long was it on?
We were on for 5 years, but the last year
Whoa.
was the year that after Phil was murdered.
Oh, God.
So the last year was with John Lovitz. He
Right,
took over the Hartman spot,
Ooh,
and he
tough
was
spot.
a really good friend of Phil's. And he had done an episode before, and so he would probably be the only guy that we would have embraced to do that, because it was just like he sort of fit that
Tough
groove.
spot. God,
The toughest.
he's so funny. He's
And that
such
was-
a funny cat.
That was the only year that we thought that it was going to come back. Like,
Yeah.
every year we thought it was going to be canceled. Like, first year, this is not going to make it.
Right.
Our ratings suck, and we made it back. And then the 5th year, we were like, well, we're doing pretty good. Canceled.
The weird.
They pulled the plug on it.
That's
it's
weird.
like what people decide to cancel and don't decide to cancel, unless you're a giant hit, unless you're like,
Yeah.
Modern Family or something like
Yeah.
that. You really never know.
You don't know.
You don't know. That's a fucking great show, Modern Family.
Oh, God.
I never watched it,
It's really good.
but my whole family got into it during the lockdown.
Oh, yeah?
God, that's a good show.
Oh.
so
Talk about great writing.
so
Great acting.
well written.
I know.
so well acted.
So good.
Yeah, amazing.
I auditioned for a role in it, and it was kind of okay, but it was what's his name? The husband. I'm spacing on his name, but it's one of those where like you audition for something and then you watch somebody who got the role and you're like, oh yeah,
he's better than me.
yeah, good move.
I love Ed O'Neill too. He's
my
great
God.
in everything.
I mean, to have that character, to have like those two great characters, like Married
Yeah.
with Children, and then this,
I know.
so good. Everyone on that is solid, and the storylines are so good.
It's so good. It's just such a
impressive.
well-made show. And the
know.
fact that it's done that way and that funny with no audience is incredible.
I know.
It's all single
know.
camera.
That means that there's people that are really fun, that know funny,
Yeah.
right? Because you can get in that situation and have somebody who, it's funny enough. That's
Right.
Right. They don't have that level of what they know is funny.
Do you ever watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
No.
One of the funniest shows on TV.
Really?
Amazing. So good.
Tina Fey's.
Yeah, it's
right?
Tina Fey's show. It's on Netflix. I forget who the girl
Everything
is.
she
That's the
does.
redheaded girl, but the girl who plays Kimmy Schmidt, and
Yeah.
Titus Andromedus,
Oh, yeah.
the gay guy.
He's great.
Fucking amazing.
He's a
He's
force.
so good.
He's a force.
It's a hilarious show, man.
Yeah?
And it's a crazy show. It's about a girl who gets kidnapped, brought into a sex cult, and locked into a bunker for 15 years. So she gets released, and she has no idea how the world works. But she's super innocent, but really positive. It's
Right.
fucking great.
That's great.
It's a really good show, man.
I love those characters. You read?
Yeah.
What about Ted Lasso? You seeing that one now?
What's that?
That's what's his name? Not Jason Sudeikis.
No, I don't know what that is.
It's on I think on Apple. So good. Similar
It's
character.
a new one of those Apple only shows.
Yeah.
Those are weird. Like, who's watching those? How
I
many
don't
people are
know.
watching
This
them
one
Apple
seems
only
like it's
shows?
catching. This
Yeah?
one seems like and he the same kind of character. He's
Here it
just
is.
wide-eyed and super optimistic football coach that comes to England to coach soccer.
That's a good premise.
And he's so positive. He's just really you can't break this guy. And it's almost like a dumb optimism. It's great. He's so good in it. Everyone on it is good.
There's too much good stuff to watch right now.
I know.
Oh, but you know what I did want to talk to you about?
Yeah.
I watched The Social Dilemma.
Oh, jeez.
Dude. That's a must-see, kids.
I heard it's depressing
Oh, so's
because
real
it's
life.
so real.
Real life's depressing, Tom. Listen to you. Everything's going to be fine. Wear a mask. I live in communist Russia. Wear a mask. Trust me. Gavin Newsom's penis tastes delicious. We're all going to be fine.
We are going to be fine. You think we exist on this plane and this plane only?
Ooh, that's heavy. No, because I've done a lot of drugs. I think there's probably something
you've
else.
seen.
I think there's something.
know.
I think there's something else out there, but just inaccessible right now.
Yeah.
But this social dilemma makes me very concerned about the future, because all of these technologists and all these people that have invented all this stuff that now are very unhappy.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating
Well,
to
they're not-
see them discussing their own creations and see outsiders who are also technologists who didn't invent these things, but are seeing the patterns in these things and understand it from a really educated perspective. They're saying this could lead to civil war. Like, people are getting more and more divided, and it shows in the film how social media has made people far more polarized, far more divided than ever before. The red and the blue and the this.
Sure.
It's like, it's disturbing.
What's the most dangerous part of it, and can it be corrected?
Well, there's a lot of dangerous parts about it, but the thought bubbles, the fact that these people get in these bubbles of thought where everybody around you thinks your way and everybody who thinks a different way is the enemy.
Yeah.
This is a really dangerous part of the reality that we live in today, because it's not what we anticipated. I thought that the internet and the age of information and all that we're experiencing right now would bring about an understanding and a nuanced perspective
Yeah.
in life in all ways. Like, you'd be able to see things from other people's perspectives more easily, because it'd be more readily available, and it would be more encouraged for you to seek out all this information. But a bunch of factors that happen at the same time all have sort of made it worse than ever before. And one of them is Trump. Trump being such a polarizing figure,
Yeah.
and whether or not whether or not it's justified, and how much of it's justified, and how much of it is liberal propaganda, and how much of it is Republican propaganda. When you look at the way people feel about him and the things they equate with him, like they equate white supremacy and anti-immigrant mentality and xenophobia and all these different things they think, and a lack of empathy, and which is probably accurate, right? If you could say anything about Trump, one of the things you would say that's negative is he seems to not be empathetic. He doesn't seem to care about other people
Right.
the way you would want a leader to care about people. Like, you don't
100%.
buy it.
Right.
Even when people die, like when John McCain died, he still never had any empathy for the guy.
No.
And it's just,
Yeah.
there's so many, and then so it's so easy to look at him, and even though in his mind he's got to be a tough guy, and if people come at him, he's going to come back at them. But this is like sort of the mentality that someone takes if you're battling trolls online. You don't understand. Like, you as the president, you're supposed to be. You're in this rare position. You can't be responding to individuals because you're too big. You represent a different thing. You're not Donald Trump anymore. You're Donald Trump, who is also the president of the United States.
Yes.
And if you don't adjust the way you communicate with people and
Yes.
bring people together, and one of the things that Obama did brilliantly was he made you feel like America was something you could be proud of because that guy's representing you. This really articulate, super smooth statesman who seemed elegant, and he seemed like composed, and when he would speak, regardless of his policies, regardless of the criticism you might have of his administration, the way he handled the role of president, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. A
Right.
plus. A plus.
No
A plus.
missteps.
No pettiness.
Right.
No, I mean, I think he called Kanye jackass once. That's about it. Well, it might have led to
Just acted
Kanye
like a
wanted to be
grown-up.
president. He might have fucking made Trump be president.
Well, yeah.
That White House Correspondents' Dinner,
Yeah.
we shit on Trump.
Yeah.
And you see Trump going there. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm one thing you'll never be, which is president of the United States.
Everyone's laughing, and he's just glaring up at the
he's like,
dais.
yeah.
No, that was a moment.
That psychopath, he took you up on that
Yeah.
little challenge.
But you take someone that has lack of empathy and doesn't really see the responsibility of the office and what he says, and you combine that with that technology, That's a
Well, you're asking a
dangerous
guy.
that's a dangerous combination.
It is.
Which
You're
we're feeling
asking
the
a guy
result of.
to change who he is at 73,
Right.
right? You're or 72, what he was when he got in 71. I think he was 71 when he got in. You're asking a guy in his 70s to change who he is, and the thing that made him successful, the reason why he was in all these rap songs. Like if you go back and listen to rap music in the 80s and 90s, Trump's name was thrown up all the time.
Right.
He was that guy. He was that guy with the big gold letters on his fucking building.
Yeah, and fighting with Rosie O'Donnell and
Yes.
calling her a pig and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
All that stuff. Well,
yeah.
that was okay back then for some reason. Like he would call her terrible names on the Conan O'Brien show or
Because he was a
whatever show
television
he was on,
celebrity.
Letterman. Yeah, but he was famous for being that guy.
Right.
So that guy became president, and there's always a polarization. There's always a group of people that hate the president because they didn't vote for him, and they
Sure.
want him to fuck up, and they want him to fail, and they want everything that he's doing to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when they got mad at Obama for wearing a tan suit?
Yo, it was
Do you remember that?
horrible. Yeah, it was like the greatest violation of the office.
And they made a big deal
or when he
about
fist bumped his wife.
it.
Like
Why do you
the
fucking
outrage.
Why do you fucking care about this?
I know.
He's got a nice suit on. He looks good.
Exactly. I
Look good in that suit. But so
think
so
about
there's
that suit all
that,
the
right?
time.
There's Trump as a figurehead, which accelerates everything. He's gasoline on an already raging wildfire.
He loves keeping the temperature at maximum. He wants everything at a hot boil. And you really feel it. You know that's the thing of that office. He could calm this situation down. He could make you all
I don't
relaxed.
think he knows how to do it.
He
when
likes it, and
tries.
he exists. He's like the only one who's comfortable. Like you ever go out with a girl who loves to fight?
Yeah.
And just and she's only comfortable because that's the way she was raised.
And they get mad if you don't want to fight back.
Yes, that's him. That's him. He wants to fight. He'll bring shit up until you take the bait, and then there's a fight on, and then they calm down, and you're having a nervous breakdown.
So it's not all his fault, though. There's social media and the divide that comes, and this is where the social dilemma comes in place.
Yeah.
There's a divide that comes about because of the way they've engineered these algorithms, which is really disturbing. So
Yeah.
whatever you're into, it finds those things and accentuates them because it just wants you to stay on more. It wants you to engage more.
Sure.
It wants you to pay attention to the things. Now, Ari Shafir did a little bit of a study on this, a little bit of a test. And he only YouTubed puppies. That's all he would YouTube. Just YouTube puppies, just to see what happened. And all YouTube would send him
Yeah.
is puppies.
Right.
All they would show him, all they would suggest is puppies.
Yep.
So this idea that they're engineering outrage is a little
Right.
disingenuous because what they're really doing is finding what you're interested in. And people have been shown to pay attention to what they disagree with far more than what they agree with. So that's
the algorithm
how you,
spits you things that you
Yes.
disagree with more.
Exactly, because you get engaged with that and you get angry.
Oh.
That was a part of the movie.
rage.
It was showing how things that people disagree with, things that make people upset.
Right.
Those are the things that people are much more likely to engage with. And you're like, fuck you, fucking liberals, or fuck you, you fucking racist.
Trumpy.
Everyone's racist.
Right,
You know, it's like, it's this thing that is a part of being a person where you see, especially when you don't feel like you're being heard, right? When you're at home and you're sitting on the toilet and you're going through Facebook and you see some shit about what the fucking burn the flag, you motherfuckers, and you start making these messages,
Right.
you're more likely to do that than seeing some beautiful story about these parents that adopt this kid and they give him a home and he
Yeah.
comes from a bad part of the world. Like that, you're not going to go, way to go for you. Let me write down all the amazing things about what you're doing.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, you're gonna get mad.
Yeah.
Or if you're on the left, you're gonna get mad because of the wildfires. You're gonna blame them on Trump and climate change and
Right.
all these different things. And
Yeah.
you know, like, look,
Gets your outrage going.
yeah, I mean, so many people think Trump's responsible for the wildfires. Listen, folks, those fucking fires were going to happen regardless of who is president. Now, whether or not he is putting in policies that's going to protect people 10, 20 years from now,
Right.
that's a real argument.
Yeah.
But the fucking fires
Yeah.
that are going on right now are not because of Trump. It takes a long time to turn that battleship.
No, absolutely.
It's
I mean,
not, it's not his fault. And I'm not saying he's done good things for the environment. That's not what I'm saying.
He's not plotting a future that you think will help out these fires in the future.
Right, you do have to take into consideration. Well, and here's the thing: everybody's applauding Newsom for saying that they're going to eliminate these gasoline-powered cars by 2035.
Finally,
you can't. But here's the thing, because you and I both have Teslas. Yeah. But here's the thing: those batteries don't come free. You have to get lithium out of the ground. I mean, they're fucking literally staging military coups. There was the story about there was a controversy because Elon Musk made a tweet, and I think the tweet was something, "We'll coup whoever we want to," or something crazy.
Oh,
he was
really?
Responding to someone.
He was saying
I think he was just like being joking around about it.
Yeah.
But people are saying, like, here it is. We will coup whoever we want. Elon Musk and the overthrow of democracy in Bolivia. He probably shouldn't have said that, Elon. He was probably joking around. But the idea is that lithium, which is a primary component of these batteries,
right.
You're going to need a massive amount of that shit.
Right.
And that shit is called conflict minerals. Conflict minerals, one of the reasons why they call them that is because these fucking minerals are in the Congo, they're in Afghanistan, they're in all these places that are, it's there's a lot of people vying for them. Like China's trying to get into the Congo.
Blood diamonds.
Yeah, it's a little sketchier than diamonds.
Right.
You're going to need a whole lot more of it.
Right.
And you need it to get batteries. It's not like it's a free ride to get batteries.
Yeah, but, you lose democracy in Bolivia. At least there's no more fires. At least the air's better.
I don't think it works that way.
Everything's a little evil.
I don't think it works that way. I think they got to figure out how to suck carbon out of the air. They have figured that out. There's like small scale versions of these things that looks like an air cleaner that's the size of a skyscraper.
Oh yeah.
And they've talked about implementing these things to actually extract carbon from the atmosphere.
What about that soil documentary? Did you see that one where it's all about the soil?
That's fucking terrifying.
Like sucking, like if you heal the soil, you'll heal the earth.
Well, regenerative farming is the best way to heal the soil.
Right.
And there are some people that are experts on regenerative farming. And regenerative farming is essentially what they're doing is farming the way they farmed thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago, the way you're supposed to. Like ruminants, animals eat grass, they shit, the manure actually brings these nutrients back into the earth, and that acts as fertilizer for new plants to grow.
You rotate the crops.
And it's supposed to have a carbon neutral effect when it's done correctly. The problem is we've adapted to this world where you want to pull in a Jack in a Box and get a cheeseburger in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And that has got to be cheap meat, and cheap meat comes from factory farming, and factory farming is universally regarded as fucking disgusting.
Horrible.
So that way you've got trucks and you've got all this fucking these animals, and they're eating terrible food, and it's all gross.
Yeah.
Like from top to bottom, it's gross.
Horrible. And there's it's a new documentary on Netflix. I forget the name of it.
Kiss the Ground.
Kiss the Ground. Really good, because it's kind of one of those that actually gives you some hope. You're like, well, this isn't that complex of a solution that could actually
What
change
is their solution?
things.
What are they trying to do?
They're trying to
Regenerative farming?
Yeah, exactly.
The thing about regenerative farming, though, is I don't know if it will work at scale. Like, we had Joel Salatin on a few well, we've had him on twice, but we had him on a few months back. And there's a guy who doesn't give a fuck about coronavirus, by the way.
Oh, really?
Older fella, farmer, healthy as an ox. Drinks out of the trough where the cows drink, because he says he gets that biome into his gut. He wants that. He wants all their bacteria.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't wash his hands. Doesn't get sick.
That's why I feel comedians have kind of been strong, because we're traveling, we're in front of all these people, you're holding mics that are other grubby comedians are holding.
Well, that's the argument about prisoners,
Yeah.
Most prisoners are asymptomatic from coronavirus, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're just surrounded by germs all the time.
Yeah, you would think they're so stressed out. Like, here they are in fucking jail. That's about as stressful as life gets.
Oh, God.
But everyone's coughing in everybody's mouth, and they're fine.
Ugh. But yeah, I know your immune system, it gets ramped up and it goes to work.
By the way, what's going on with Harvey Weinstein? He's fat and old, and he got coronavirus when he was in jail.
Yeah.
Nobody heard a peep out of that guy.
Yeah, because he's probably in a house in the Hamptons.
You never heard about that guy, right? You don't hear about him at all anymore, right?
No, he's the one that started it all.
There's a rapper who just got sent back to jail for social distancing violation. How about that?
Sent back to jail?
Sent back to jail. Yeah. He's He shot at Chief Keef. You know that?
You can't be shooting him.
That's what I say. He shot at him, though. He didn't shoot him, but
Okay.
they sent him to jail. Then they released him because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And they got pictures of him at a party, having a good old time. And there was like, oh, he's social distance violating, so they put him back in jail.
What a dummy.
Can you imagine that? I didn't know you can go back to jail for violating social distancing rules.
Well, this seems like a special case.
But perhaps. I know, right? If you get out of jail for shooting at somebody because you might get a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a young guy, too. He'll probably shake it off like that.
Yeah, exactly. Just play by the rules.
Yeah,
Just turn it down a notch.
Yeah, if
Just
I was his lawyer, I'd be like,
stay
bro,
inside.
listen, man, I know you like partying, but do you have a mask?
Yeah.
You know, wear a mask when you party, like a Halloween mask.
God. They were saying that. Yeah, right, exactly. Just put on a big thing.
Yeah, just pretend you're someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the dude. Takeshi 6ix9ine ex-associate Kuda B, I like that name, headed back to prison for party stunt. Well, they're calling it party stunt. They were calling it a social distance violation.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
What would you
He hasn't
think?
even been sentenced yet, apparently. So he might have got out early while he was being held.
Caught on tape partying with a large group of people in a Brooklyn apartment soon after his April release. Manhattan federal judge called the decision to have a party after receiving social distancing orders an astonishing stunt. And he ordered Kuda to surrender to U.S. Marshals no later than 2 p.m. October 15th. So he's got some days to party. So it's only the 6th. Homeboy's got 9 days to fucking have a good old time.
Jeez. Maybe we need face tattoos.
Why?
It
Think
seems
it'll
like
help
all
us?
the cool kids got them.
No, we're too old, dude.
Are
if
we?
you get a face tattoo and you're our age, people frown upon that.
Do they?
Yeah, they think you're suicidal. You're losing your mind. Maybe you get a nice little star on your cheek.
A little-
Just a little tiny one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Why not, man?
Like the NBC thing. The
Maybe,
more you know.
What if you got your lips done, like just real subtle? Like you came in, your lips were darker. I'd be like, what's going on with your lips, Tom?
What? I don't know.
Nothing.
They were always this way.
Like all of a sudden, your lips look dark.
I don't know if you caught what he was in jail for, by the way.
Shot at Chief Keef.
He paid someone to.
Oh, wait a
Paid
minute.
someone
According
to
to
cut-
Mackenzie's confession, Takeshi 6ix9ine paid that guy
Right.
to shoot
But-
at Chief Keef.
But
Supposedly,
instead-
in an attempt to scare the rival rather than seriously injure him, instead, Kuda opted to outsource the shooting to someone else, but still pled guilty to assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering, which is a maximum prison sentence of 20 years. He's only 22 years old, but likely spend the next couple of decades behind bars. Whoa.
Jeez. So they're
So he
kind of
was
gang.
out?
Are they gang related?
So he has not yet been sentenced, so he was being held with a bunch of other people who were like backed up in the court system.
Oh, so they let him out just...
Like on bail.
On
'cause he didn't
bail.
have- maybe he wasn't granted bail or
Oh.
something. So like they're like, well, now you're not out on bail, so come
Oh,
on.
You violate it.
He's going to jail for a long fucking time.
I hope he got another face tattoo before he went in.
He should have got a raft and gone to Cuba. Go
Could
to
you
Florida.
escape? Like if you had to go on the run, okay, you get busted for something. Maybe you didn't do it, but the fuzz is coming for you. Would it be possible to escape the law for the rest of your life nowadays?
I was talking to a man who knows things. And he was telling me that there is technology that they are working on that's going to let them hear fully clear, completely crystal clear conversations from satellites.
Uh-huh. You
They're
mean
gonna-
person-to-person
I mean,
conversation?
you in your house having a
Right.
conversation with your wife, they're going to be able to hear you from a satellite. They just
they're-
tune into your house.
They're going to be so bored.
I'm sure they will be, but not if they tune into Chief Keef's house. They're going to find some crazy shit going on. But these...
Really?
Yes. Yes. I don't think
So like
anybody's...
with GPS, they could pinpoint a house
Yes.
and listen to that conversation.
no one's hiding. That's my point.
Right.
Like they're closing in on everything, and you're going to get to the point where
Right.
there's not going to be... There's no hiding.
It's like that Tom Cruise movie.
Minority Report?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I saw that movie, it was like, oh, this is all definitely coming. Like,
Yeah.
right? They were trading eyeballs because...
That was like a future crime, right? They catch
Yeah.
you before you did something.
Before you did something.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
coming.
if you really believe in determinism, you know, if you could get a computer, you can devise a computer that's so powerful that it could accurately anticipate individual events, crisscrossing and compiling together to create a specific result, and you knew they would force someone's hand to do something. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not completely outside of the realm of possibility that one day at least they could figure out a likelihood of things happening.
Right. Yeah. And then where are you going to run? Bolivia?
You ain't going anywhere, bro.
Come on. You could hide
Going to the
someplace.
ocean. Just keep walking into the ocean until you stop breathing. I don't want to go to jail.
Like, what was it when you rat on the mafia and you got to go into a house in Arizona?
They did that for a while.
Was it relocation or?
Yeah,
what's
witness
the term?
relocation.
Yeah, witness protection.
Yeah, witness protection.
Right.
We had
That worked, right?
We showed Sammy the Bull Gravano did that. He's got a podcast now.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, he's third next to Hillary Clinton. She's 2. Michelle Obama's number 1.
Number one, what?
Okay, we just
On the
brought it
ratings.
up. He should be
On a
you know,
podcast?
no, witness protection. You would think, but
Yeah.
he like Tekashi 6ix9ine just said he's like, I'm coming out. He ratted on people.
Yeah, but what is he doing? Is he in
No, he's
witness
out
protection
no,
at all?
Nope. He's
No?
out in New York making music videos, passing like he was literally on the street corner passing out his CDs. With I guess he just had.
How
security
come
with him,
nobody's
but-
He
killed
hustles.
him?
I'll give him that.
But he's had to move his spot. He's had houses where he got ratted on.
Sure.
Of course
He
they're
has
gonna rat on
security.
him. He's a
Yeah,
rat.
I mean, he's
You're
got-
a rat.
I don't know. Very
That- but-
popular.
Yeah, but how long before he runs out of money? Like that, it costs a lot of money to have that kind of security.
Keep making it.
Yeah. Keep coming up with some new beats.
Yeah. If you're gonna get a face tattoo, what kind of tattoo would you get?
If I was to get a face tattoo, I would get, I don't know, a little booger right underneath my nose.
No, be serious. Maybe a tattooed tear, scare everybody off, pretend you killed
Yeah,
people in
let
prison.
people think I killed people. No, then gang members would be like, no, you didn't, and they'd come get me.
That's true. Good call.
You don't want troubles.
You
Maybe
don't want to cause trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm telling you, a little star in your cheek.
I like the star.
Right here. Right in the upper cheekbone area. Just a little tiny star.
What did Papa do?
Answer questions too. He
Convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein to face new sex crimes charges. Oh, boy.
11 counts in California.
Woo!
This is new
11
news? This is
counts
new?
of sexual
Posted
assault in the
yesterday.
state of California where extradition proceedings have been put on hold due to the pandemic.
11 counts.
So yeah, 3 more counts I guess got added to.
3 more counts of rape and other sexual crimes involving 2 women.
He's already serving 23 years, and he's got to put a suit on and go defend himself more? Jeez
Do you think if you left a
Louise.
gun in his cell, he would just blow his brains out?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't think he's getting out at this point. If these charges keep piling up.
God. Is he in jail? Or is
Oh, he's
he,
in Rikers, bro.
He's in Rikers?
Yeah. Yeah. He got COVID when he was in jail.
And they didn't send him home
Fuck
to
him.
get healthy?
No.
He's not at Rikers, but he is in jail somewhere.
Wasn't he in Rikers, though, at one point?
Maybe before he got sent to the Wendy Correctional Facility, max security,
God.
in New York near Buffalo.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
And Cosby's in jail.
Yeah, but it's...
You ever remind yourself of that as you're going about through your day? Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
That's such a...
He's only in jail for a short amount of time.
Is he?
Yeah, which is interesting. He's only in jail for... I believe he's in jail for one of those things that he did.
Uh-huh.
I believe.
For a short amount of time.
I don't think he's in jail for very long. I think he's in jail for like 10 years or something. Is that what it
It
is?
says 3 to 10 in state prison.
Yeah.
3 to 10, so he'll be...
So he could get out on parole and still be alive. But he's like, he's almost blind,
Yeah,
too.
next year would be
Oh.
parole. He was in
Next
jail
year.
September 25th, 2018.
Still won't admit he did anything.
God.
Hold strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems insane.
Yeah.
He seems completely insane. Like he was out at a barber shop before he went. They put him in, and I don't know if he was on parole or on appeal, or I mean, not on parole, on bail or on appeal. But he was at a barber shop, like with these guys, and they made a video of it. It's so strange because
Why?
he's acting as if nothing had happened. Bill Cosby interviewed. He expects to serve full 10-year sentence rather than say sorry. Wow.
Jeez. So he was just at the barbershop, like, acting like he wasn't going?
He was holding court.
That's what he
Holding
does.
court at a barbershop, and these guys, and they were talking about like bands, like what guy was in what band, and yeah, and they were talking trivia and shit.
He's probably doing the same thing in jail.
I wonder
I bet he's got a lot of fans in jail.
how he's treated there. You know,
Yeah. I'm sure
there he
he's
is.
telling
That's him
funny
at the
stories.
barbershop. Play some of that. Give me some
The
volume.
original. The original. Okay, so there's.
So he's got that sweater on that says "Hello, friend."
He's talking jazz.
Yeah,
Yes. There's Connie K on the drum.
that's Alonzo
No!
Broden's older brother.
Connie K. No.
Come on, tell me that guy doesn't look like Alonzo Bowden's older brother.
Yeah.
Have you any money on you?
He wants to bet him. They're talking shit.
Let's hear it for one kidney, Johnson. One kidney. Now,
Just holding court.
He's talking about jazz musicians.
Scroll. Who made this post? Bill Cosby himself. Bill Cosby hangs out DeMarco's hair artistry, and they have to put in quotes barbershop in brackets. In yesterday with friends,
Fans
January
and supporters.
21st, 2018.
Look at his hashtags. Go Eagles, Philadelphia.
Wow, that's crazy. That's weird.
Wow. God, what a weird story. Man, oh man. So he thinks that it was just, he was just with some ladies. That's in his head. Right?
Dude, when I was on news radio, we heard about him.
Yeah.
We had heard about him drugging people.
You did?
Yeah, it was a rumor. It was always a rumor. It was always a thing that people had heard. They knew someone who knew someone. They knew something. It was always out there.
Jeez.
So when Hannibal Buress was on stage and he was talking about
Yeah.
that was not something that was unknown.
No, I mean, he said in his set, right? Just
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah. And then that's what starts it all, which is just bananas. One set that someone films on their phone,
Yeah.
gets up on YouTube, and everybody's like, wait, what? And everybody outside the industry
Woke up.
goes, Cosby? Bill Cosby, like the
Right.
Cosby Show. Like
Fat
America's
Albert.
Dad.
Right.
Like the Jell-O pudding guy, that guy.
The adorable guy. Ugh. So awful.
wish you could read a
Yeah,
person's mind.
2014.
Yeah.
When that happened.
With
With him,
Hannibal?
Yeah.
Ooh. I wish you could read a person's mind.
Yeah.
Like I really want to know. I want to know.
Sounds like
Imagine-
those satellites are going to do it.
Well, they're gonna hear your mind. They're gonna hear your words.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're too many decades away from being able to actually read your mind.
You think?
Someone was convicted of a crime in India back in the day, and we covered this when I did that Joe Rogan Questions Everything show because of fMRI. fMRI is functional magnetic imagery, and I think that's the right terms. But basically, it's reading the mind and reading like patterns. And they decided that this person, I think it might have been a woman, was convicted of a crime because they had functional knowledge of the crime scene. Now, this was in another country. I believe it was in India. And I talked to a neuroscientist in America, and they said you would never accept this in America because functional knowledge of a crime scene could be obtained by just examining evidence. Like if you were charged,
Right.
if someone charged you with a murder, said, Tom, I know you killed that guy, and you're like, what? And then they show you the photos, like you would have access to the information.
Yeah.
And if you had that in your head, like thinking, oh my God, someone killed this person and now they're blaming it on me. How could they think I did it? And you could possibly have functional knowledge of where it happened and what happened just based on someone describing to you what you've been charged with.
How do you find out if someone has functional knowledge?
They don't
of
really
something?
know. Just like in in Italy, people were charged that were seismologists because they didn't warn people in time for an earthquake that took place.
Right.
Yeah, because they're Italians. The fucking
Hey!
they don't know. They don't know no better. So they charge people with. And now in America, you could never charge a seismologist. I believe that's
Right.
true. See if that's true. If that was in Italy. I'm asking you to Google a lot
That
of shit
seems like so-
that may or may not be real.
It seems like so like early, like other century. Like she's a witch.
Yeah, it does.
That's
seem
why
like
it
that.
rained.
Well,
She's a witch.
Actual, seismologists and
Yeah.
scientists all over the world were aghast because, like, well, you can't fucking charge people with not warning you about something that's utterly
Yeah.
unpredictable. Italian seismologists cleared of manslaughter. Okay, so they were
that's good.
charged.
They came to their senses.
6 scientists did not cause deaths in 2009. But what's crazy is that actually went to court. So these poor guys had to defend themselves in court that they should have known that this earthquake was coming. This
That is
how
old
dumb.
world, isn't it? That's very old
Hey,
world.
I'm eating my spaghetti, the fucking earth starts moving.
The earthquake. That guy's
How
got
much
a
I
Geiger
pay
counter.
that guy? How much I pay him?
Who's the guy with the Geiger counter? What is it? Get him!
How come he don't know? We're both Italian. We can get away with talking like
He
this.
should have told me.
But
Do you know I look at like a famous Italian film star?
who?
Carlo Verdone.
How much do you look like him? Like, could you go over there and?
I got into a taxi cab in Rome, and this kid fell out. It's like 22-year-old kid was just like, Verdoni's in my cab. Verdoni's in my cab. And he called his family.
Oh my God.
He made me get on the phone with him.
Oh my God.
That's pretty close, right? What do you think?
I think it's insulting. You should be mad. That guy looks like he's 10 years older than you, and he's gonna die tomorrow.
Well, he is older, but he's like
It's a fucking Verdone.
he's one of the
Do that.
comedic actors.
Make that face.
Oh, he's doing.
Oh,
Hey!
what's in the bowl, bitch? That one's pretty close. That's pretty close.
That's pretty
Give me
close.
a smile with your lips closed.
Is it close?
Very, very.
This kid lost his mind. He's like, Verdoni's in my. It took me the whole ride to convince him I
If
wasn't.
someone
Verdone.
didn't have a phone on them, where they couldn't Google the actual Verdone, look, you could probably
Yeah.
pull it off.
Right.
I bet.
We can go find him.
I like that one with the pointing at you, the glasses, like he's a badass.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
that.
me and my
That's
sunglasses.
you, bro. Carlo Verdone.
Verdone.
Hey, this
Carlo
fucking guy.
Verdone.
That's you, bro.
I wish I spoke Italian.
Well, you can learn. It's not that hard. It's not like you want to breathe underwater. You lazy fuck. Jesus.
Get an app.
I wish I could do something that I don't do right now that other people do easily. I just don't have the energy.
I don't think my brain can handle it. You think you can learn a whole language right now?
Of course I could.
No way.
Of course I could. I don't want to, but of course I
Well,
could.
you're living your life here, not going over to Italy and
Yes, you could. It would just require a lot of time.
a
There would
lot
have to
of
be a
time.
real reason for you to do it.
Right.
Like if I had a wife and she was Italian, she was talking a lot of shit.
I was just, you don't. I was just the way you said it though. You don't need to learn the whole language. Like we don't know the whole English language. We know a good portion of it and how to talk with it, but we don't know
Almost.
the whole thing. There's so many words. I
Talk
don't
with
know.
it.
Apparently,
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah.
apparently Russian is a really hard one to learn.
I took that in freshman year in college. It's
Did you
not
learn
as
it-
hard as you think.
But what about the writing it?
No, they just have a couple blocky letters. But Des Vidanias, Zdravstvuyte, it's not as complicated. Yeah, there's something about it they say that English is much harder than
No shit.
Russian. Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's
learning it the other way is really a
That's
bitch.
interesting.
Yeah.
So Russians have a hard time learning English. English can learn Russian better.
Right.
Hmm.
I only took it for a semester, and the guy let you take the test as many times as you needed to pass. But
Really?
it wasn't that mind-blowing, yeah.
Really? I would think just the language itself, the written language, would be really hard.
It's really cool.
It's fucking cool looking.
Yeah, it is really cool. My daughter is studying Italian in college,
Yeah.
and it's like every day you have to take it 5 days a week. It's pretty immersive. That's how you learn it.
Yeah, that's the move, right? If you go
Yeah.
to an immersion school and you have to teach, they teach every class
Yeah.
in the language. And
They don't speak any English to you.
Yeah.
Or go live in Rome, pretend you're
Fitzsimmons'
Verdone.
kids went to a Spanish immersion school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And they learned it.
Yeah, you just learn. You know,
I know.
you speak Spanish
You have to
every
do it
day.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's just that thing. Mm-hmm. That's so funny. I wish I could learn something that other people know that I can learn. It is lazy. But
It's not lazy. Well, listen,
I'm busy.
You could do it,
I have
but
a lot
mean,
of stuff going on.
it would require many hours a day, many days in a row, probably for years before
Yeah.
you got adept at it.
Yeah.
And it could be done, but
How
it's
long
like,
until I was like could get by on a trip?
I don't know. I can't speak another language. I have no idea. There's those like Rosetta Stone commercials. They promise like
Yeah.
you get like fairly good at it in like 90 days or something. But
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you have to put a lot of time into it. It's like,
Yeah, I think you're
it's like
better off
anything else.
being retired. But isn't there a thing with the brain like that? If you learn it when you're like
Yeah.
14, it's much easier than when you're 50.
I think it's younger. I think it's really young. When
Yeah.
you're really young, kids. I mean, you think about how quick kids speak English,
Yeah.
right? Like my daughter, one of my daughters was speaking really young. She was at 1 year old. She was speaking in full sentences. It was really weird. Like she's really smart.
Yeah.
But at 1 year old, she would ask me questions. Daddy, what is this and why is that? And this. Blah, 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 blah,
Right,
blah.
right. There is that.
One. Imagine you speaking full Italian in 1 year.
Yeah,
That'd be crazy.
that would be crazy. Man, that would be fun though.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to handle myself in a restaurant
Yeah.
like really well. be able to talk about the wine. And
Well,
talk about the...
Google has these earbuds that will translate languages in real time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So with this Google app, someone can talk to you as long as they speak clearly, like clear enough for like it to transcribe.
Really?
They will be able to say it back to you in real time. Yeah.
Will be able to, or can?
No,
now?
Ken. I'm pretty sure it's the Pixel earbuds. See if that's
pretty cool.
That's true. Yeah.
That's really great.
It's interesting, right? Like there's arguments for both Android and Apple, and one of the arguments for Apple, or one of the arguments for Android rather. Here it is. Right, it is.
Yeah.
And
How
hold
to
the
trans-
earbud.
look
Then
at-
say,
Help me speak Spanish.
to launch conversation mode on the Translate app. When you're ready to speak to someone in another language, press and hold the earbud and speak in your native language.
Good afternoon. What are the menu specials today?
Buenas tardes. ¿Cuáles son los especiales del menú hoy?
Oh, the phone takes it
Tap the
over for you.
microphone under the language
Check
you'd like
this out.
translated when they're ready to respond.
Then
When
you
the
talk.
person responds, the translated message will play directly into your Pixel Buds. To learn more, visit the Google Pixel Buds Help Center.
That
Pretty
ain't
dope.
working. That's he
Well, listen.
talks and
It's enough for you to make a drug transaction.
I can't even get it.
marijuana,
Cocaine.
cocaine.
There is not one time when I transcribe just in my English to my text where it nails it.
Well, Google is better.
Yeah.
They're much better at it. Yeah, and I use my Apple. I have an Apple phone and I have an Android phone.
Oh, you do?
My Apple phone is my primary phone, and I use my Android phone more to fuck around with than anything. But I'm fucking around with a few things on it, and one of the things is how well it picks up your voice and how well it transcribes it. So here's the argument, right? Apple is much better with your privacy. They're much better with your privacy. Like when you use Apple Maps, it's not sending your data to anyone. It's
Right.
but it's one of the reasons why Apple Maps is not as good. Google Maps are better.
Because they're sharing it.
It's just better. They're getting data constantly from you. They're getting data from all the other drivers.
Right.
They're sharing that data. They're compiling that data, and they're also sending ads your way to profit off of this to make it profitable. So because of that, because Google is just sucking up data constantly, they can provide you with better services. Mm-hmm. So they have an amazing search engine. But that was one of the things about the social dilemma. The search engine gives different results based on where you are. Like say if you type, they use an example, climate change. Like if you write climate change is, it might say a hoax or climate change is a terrible threat. Depending on where you live, like if you
Just
do it
where
in
you are,
California,
like if you live in- right.
it might give you one thing, but if you live in Waco, Texas, it might give you another thing. Yeah, and it's based on what it thinks you want to see.
That's crazy.
It's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's
It's
why
just
I use-
reinforcing people's dumb ideas.
That's why I use DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo does not do any of that stuff, and it also it gives you things. It doesn't send your data somewhere. It protects your privacy.
So you put climate change is on DuckDuckGo.
No, I put chicks with dicks. And
Whoa!
then no one knows. No one knows.
I got a
No one
burner
knows what I'm
phone with
looking at.
DuckDuck Blow on it.
Yeah, you put whatever you want. It just the results are not curated.
Right.
So it's just giving you the most applicable results for the things that you're looking for. But it's not doing it in a way where it's curating it for your own interests. Like if you try to find things that are controversial, and we've tried to find that on the podcast before, where Jamie will Google something and I'll know it to be correct, but Google will not show that it's correct because maybe the correct answer is not politically correct. So you have to go through several pages, and maybe you even have to Google it in a very specific way to
Right.
get to the heart of the science behind what's wrong with the consensus opinion. The consensus opinion might be wrong. Like that's the case with a lot of nutrition things. It's the case with a lot of things regarding like anything controversial, anything where there's a political motive to sway the argument one way or the other.
It's so amazing how deep you have to dive to cross-reference stuff to really try and assemble a truthful opinion. It's
weird.
so hard. So with all this stuff, like do and you have all these people from Twitter and Google and stuff who are saying like what we did or Facebook that was horrible and we really kind of effed things up. Do they feel like they can also correct this problem?
I don't know if you can put the cap on the bottle. I don't know
The
if you
genie
can do
back
that.
in.
I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if they know it either because they didn't think it was going to happen the first time. Like, remember, Jack Dorsey was testifying. I think it was before Congress, and he was saying that 12 years ago when we created Twitter, we had no idea that this was going to be a situation that we had to anticipate. No one ever saw this coming. And if you go back and see the early Twitter, when you would do the @ it would always show your name in front of every tweet. Yeah. So it'd be like @Tom Papa is having pizza. Like you would say what you were doing. It was really weird. Like how people would use Twitter. Yeah. You know. But it was like not political. It was just fun. Yeah. Like people just no one knew what to do with it. And then somewhere along the line, people started figuring out how to get in arguments.
I know, it's so bad. We just always ruin everything. It could be so great. I remember when it first came out, it was like, wow, there would probably never have been slavery if there had been Twitter because people would have exposed it so early and it just seems so hopeful. But of course, all the scummy people get it and then just ruin it.
It makes people scummy too. Because it makes people more polarized. It makes people more aggressive in reinforcing their idea what the truth is and trying to stop other people. And you're seeing so much suppression of other people's opinions and expression today, which is so strange. Yeah. It's one of the weirdest times ever to look at the way human beings communicate. Yeah. Because of the tension. We were talking about this earlier. We never really finished the thought. But you got Trump. Then you get the pandemic, and then you get the economic collapse. You have all these things happening. So people they're desperate, they're sad, and then you've got looting, and you've got the riots, and so you get racial tension, you've got violence, you've got this anti-police sentiment, which also leads to more instability in the streets, more instability in the cities, and less safety, and fear of police, fear of gangs, fear of Antifa, fear of white supremacists, fear of everything. It's like all this fucking fear. Yeah. And then you have people arguing online. Really, literally addicted people. Yeah. People who are addicts. Right, exactly. They're just as addicted as people who are gambling addicts, just as addicted to people that are sex addicts. They're addicted to Twitter. Yeah. And they're mentally ill people, and they're constantly engaging in conflict.
Right. And they're coming up on people's posts, and you don't know that you're interacting with mentally ill people. Yeah. or people from other countries that are trying to incite it.
Assume you're interacting with mentally unwell people because almost everyone who's using it in that way is in one way or another mentally ill.
Or you put your phone in the drawer and you go to the park and all of a sudden everything calms down.
And then there's no cops because you wanted to defund the police.
Everything calms down and goes away.
Well, it should.
Because you're not living in this weird reality. Yeah. You're just living in real life. And you're not participating in all of that.
That's what we'd all hope for. The problem is there's so many people that are doing it. Yeah. Whether they're doing it on Facebook or Twitter or arguing, whatever things they're arguing about, it's spilling out into the real world.
Right. You're in the park being all zen, and all of a sudden a flash mob shows up that organized on Twitter, and you're like, what the hell is happening here? What's happening? I was just all zen a minute ago.
So one thing that I wanted to bring up, we talked about before the podcast, that I actually read a whole article about. We were talking about on the podcast whether or not Chris Cuomo was really lifting a 100-pound barbell. Now, I had completely forgot we even talked about this until I stumbled upon an article online about it. And in the article, it actually referenced us talking about it on the podcast. Right. And apparently
he wasn't.
They think I'm quite stupid for believing that Chris Cuomo really had this 100-pound barbell or dumbbell that he was lifting up.
It looked very light.
It did look very light. But so my thought was, how big is Chris Cuomo?
So that's a good point.
I thought he was bigger than he is. So I Googled it. Yeah. He's only 182 pounds, which it says he's 6'2", 182 pounds. I don't know if that's accurate.
That's
that's probably
6'2", 180. Then he doesn't
look
that lean.
Thin guy.
He doesn't look that lean.
But anyway, that makes him 20 pounds lighter than me.
Okay.
So very unlikely that he's carrying that dumbbell like that. So then I'm like, okay, I got to ask some people who would actually know. So I sought out some people online, and one of them was Rob Kearney. He's been on the podcast before. He's World's Strongest Gay.
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
He's awesome.
I follow him.
Love that dude. And I think he won recently a pound-for-pound strongman title.
I believe it.
He's not a big guy. He's a tank. But he's only about 5'10", maybe. But fucking gorilla strong.
Yeah.
So he says to me, so I say to him, have you ever seen the thing? And he says, I just watched the video. I think it's fake, LOL. He doesn't look to be bracing hard enough for it to be actually 100 pounds.
Good point. He
Right.
is kind of wishy-washy in his seat.
He's a real expert, right? So he's an actual strongman. So I'm pretty convinced. So then I asked Robert Oberst, who's also Robert is fucking enormous. Absolutely one of the strongest men in the world. He's a Goliath. I mean, you sit next to him, 300 plus pounds.
Oh, geez.
So he says the picture looks possible because his elbow's up and stable, but the video where he's at his desk showing the weight off, he moves it around out at an angle that would be the smallest head of the top of the bicep taking all the weight, and it doesn't even faze him. Said if it's real, he's stronger than anyone I've ever seen use a dumbbell.
Whoa.
I'd say it's a 40-pound weight with a 100 pounds written on it. He said lots of Insta-famous lifters have fake dumbbells and plates. So two experts,
interesting.
Rob Kearney and Robert Oberst, both of them call bullshit. So I defer to them.
Wow. It does. When he's sitting in the chair at the desk there, it looks very light.
When I saw he's 182 pounds, and that might not be true. Because I bet if you Google what my weight is, they probably don't know what my weight is either.
100 pounds is a lot.
But 182 pounds for a man who's 6'2" is not a gorilla. Like Brendan Schaub. Okay, if Brendan Schaub was doing that, I'd go, I bet he could do that. Brendan Schaub is 270 pounds, 260 plus pounds.
Yeah.
He's huge.
He's huge.
Yeah.
But even then, like, it just seems light. It seems like it
seemed
wiggles.
light. Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't look at it close enough. And I'm not a lifter in that sense. Like I don't lift heavy weights. Like the heaviest shit I ever lift is like I might squat a couple of 100 pounds for reps, but most of the shit I do is kettlebells.
Right.
So I'm doing like the heaviest ones I do are like 90 pounds or maybe, and that's rare. Usually I'll use like a 70-pound kettlebell or 50-pound kettlebell depending upon the exercise. They're not heavy.
Right.
I'm doing like functional movements that use your full body.
Right.
So I'm not in that lifting world. But if you wanted to talk to like you'd have to talk to like C.T. Fletcher. You'd have to talk to like those power lifter dudes who really understand. Those are the ones that
it's a little uncomfortable that I'm sitting right in front of you and I'm not in the list of people that you're asking because on my Peloton there are 3.5 pound weights that sit on the back of the seat.
And flip
and
those
once
around.
in a while you have to take those out and curl them. Sometimes 2 in one hand, mind you. And it is quite a workout.
Okay, so he's 200 pounds. He says he went from 218 pounds to a pretty lean 200 pounds. He cut out a bunch of bullshit, cut dairy and bad sugar, 2014, cut back booze. So he's 200 pounds. His body fat plummeted to 12%. Okay. So
he's pretty dialed in on his stuff, though.
Right, but he's taller than me, and he's my weight. He's not. There's no way he's handling that weight like that. I can't handle that weight like that.
Can we see the video?
I'm fucking jacked, son.
Oh man, I wish I didn't have my jacket on. I would be
Show
showing
me
you
what's
my
up.
biceps.
Show me what's up.
Son of
Roy
a
Jones Jr. flexed his arm in that chair. He has 2 of mine
Does he really?
on his left. It's crazy. His
Really?
left arm is so much bigger than his right because he's got like probably one of the best left hooks. Not probably one of the best left hooks a human being's ever thrown.
Oh my god.
So his left bicep is gigantic. It's so much bigger than his right. He was joking around about it. But when he flexed, you're like, Jesus.
Good Lord.
Just like an alien head in there. Yeah, see, there it is.
He does have shoulders.
Yeah.
Well, that move, when he does that.
Well, that's kind of braced.
That's 100 pounds. That's so heavy.
Yeah.
100
That's so
pounds
hard
is
to
so
do.
heavy.
This is where I'm less. Go back to that. When he's doing the little hammer curls, this is
Yeah.
where I'm less likely to believe this one right here. When he's doing that.
He's not even straining. There's no
he's
strain at all in his back.
Yeah.
Everything looks too light.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Look,
No.
again, I don't know shit. This is not my world.
I I could show you a video of a guy about like the Bradley Martin, that dude off YouTube,
Right.
doing like 120-pound dumbbells, and he's struggling with those.
Right, of
right,
course.
right.
Similar thing.
And Bradley,
point.
he's a giant.
Right.
Who is?
Bradley
I'll
Martin.
show you.
Show Bradley Martin.
Yeah, let me see
Bradley
Bradley
Martin
Martin.
takes girls. He puts like weights on bars and then has girls hang on the bars and he fucking presses them.
I love that
He's enormous. He's a YouTube famous lifter.
Right.
But all complete. Look at this. He's
Whoa.
cleaning and pressing a girl. but the dude is like, what is he, like 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah, I used a
270 easy.
Oh my God.
Enormous. He's
Look
a
at his
huge man.
arms. Jeez.
He's a huge, legitimately huge man.
Yeah, he's
So if
gigantic.
he's struggling, there's a video of him on there with 100-pound dumbbells.
Well, I get might be.
Look at that.
Look at that bar
Look at that when
bending.
he's doing deadlifts.
Oh my
Like,
God.
the size of this motherfucker.
so much weight on the bar that
But you look at him and
here,
you go,
real
oh,
or fake?
okay. Oh, that shit's real as fuck.
As people always say, it's fake. So
Look at the bar bending.
this guy doesn't have to fake anything.
Listen, there ain't no faking going on right there. That's
Good
you look at the way
Lord.
that weight is moving. When you see the size of him too, it all makes sense.
But his tricep doesn't wiggle when he points at something like Mike.
But it's nice
that's
that
my
I could
biggest
ask,
frustration.
like, everyone is, you wonder about stuff like that. And you
Yeah.
look at him doing that, like, is that real? And then you ask experts, and the experts are like,
That is pretty
Like
great.
Oberst and Rob Kearney,
Yeah.
those motherfuckers know.
Yeah,
So.
that's pretty badass.
But what kind of a person would fake a weight? Do you think people give him fake weights? Imagine if they wanted you to look like a moron. Like, hey, move this weight around. You're like, what is that, 100 pounds? You're like, hey, take a video of this. Show everybody how strong I am.
His assistant was trying to
Maybe he
get
doesn't
brownie
even-
points.
Right, maybe he doesn't
Maybe he
even
doesn't
know.
know.
Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe. Can you imagine?
His assistants are just doing it to make him feel good.
There was a guy who was, I don't know, he's like a royal, royal guy or something.
Yeah.
But he would play pool with guys, and they would pay the guys to lose. And so this guy would enter into pool tournaments.
Yeah.
And like, and
they
he was
all-
okay.
Yeah.
He was a decent player, but guys would like blow shots on purpose. Like you could tell, like someone had
He's
paid
just
them
walking
off.
around
And
thinking,
he
like
probably
Kim Jong-il,
thought he was the shit.
He's the world's greatest basketball
Yeah.
player.
Odd,
So
man.
weird.
But apparently, this
kiss
is
them
one of
their
the things that Rob Kearney was telling me is that there is a whole culture. I'll pull up the dude's name. There's a whole culture of people online who do this with fake weights, and that's probably why he was talking about that.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
it real or
like
fake?
fake followers and fake weights
Yeah.
and people just trying to get some cred online.
So this is the guy, Brad Castleberry.
okay, I know who that. I follow him. I know who he is. I've seen him get called out for the fake weight thing. I
Yes.
don't know how.
Oh,
accurate
really?
It is because he's a monster as well.
Right, exactly. He's
Here's
a
a
monster
picture.
as well.
He's a monster and he's still.
Yeah, he's huge. But
Jeez, look at
apparently,
those legs.
yes. But apparently, people have asked him to do. Now, this is according to my friends in the powerlifting world. Apparently, people have asked him to show up at meets and do this stuff. Why am I seeing his butt cheeks? I'm not
He's in his underpants.
not comfortable with that.
Why is he in his underpants?
So not necessary. So not necessary for him to show that while he's squatting.
World's strongest almost gay.
He's world's strongest curious.
Yeah.
Rob needs to show him the way. Rob's a married man. He's not interested in your butt cheeks, sir. Put him back. But
Put him away.
that's a real problem in that world. Apparently, is like people who fake weights, which is real weird.
People are so shitty. They fake everything. They fake how many followers they have. They fake how much weights
Might
they've
be
got.
a video, I think.
Yeah, I know someone who
It's a
fake followers.
scammer. Yeah.
This is him lifting.
I think so.
How to
This is
spot fake weights? Why? How can they spot it? What are they saying? How do you know that's
I
fake?
guess they're saying how he held it, which I mean, it maybe like I don't know. I know the powerlifters get deep into this too because of what you're saying.
They're so
that
So what do you think they
competitive
do?
off of it.
They put like one fake one real one fake one real one, like stack them or something
Yeah,
like that.
right. They
And-
want some resistance.
And here's the other question. That looks like a public gym. So how are you getting them fake weights into that gym?
You're not.
That's the thing. I followed him
if you
online for a
own-
while. Yeah, I've seen people call him out
Who?
for years. Brad Castleberry. Because he's like always been at like a 24-hour fitness. So I guess he's bringing in stacks of fake plates because people
Yeah.
would see
Right.
that and you just take a picture of them.
Yeah, exactly. That would spread.
It's just such a weird world, the world of how much can you lift.
Yeah, well, they're so into it, right?
Well,
these
it's-
guys aren't learning Italian.
See, that looks real, man. Look at that bar bending. That's fake? They're saying that's fake?
This video is about how to spot it, so like we're not listening to
right,
what
right.
they're
We're not
saying.
listening.
Right.
Yeah.
They might be saying that's legit.
It's a weird word. I don't know how much I can lift. How about that?
You
Someone
don't?
says, how much do you bench? I don't bench.
I
don't
just say
bench at all.
250.
It's a good move. Scare people off.
I don't know.
Keep a
I
jacket
don't remember
on.
when
Never
I
take
was.
your jacket off. Keep
That's
it
why I
on.
wear the jacket. I don't want to intimidate people.
You don't want anybody to know. Yeah. It's
Remember
a weird
when you
world.
sent me a picture of a fat comedian and you said, "Don't end up like this"?
No. Did I? Did I do that?
Yeah.
How fat was he?
He was pretty porky. I won't name him.
Did he have a shirt off on stage?
And I must have been like at a teetering weight at the time.
Oh,
and-
were we discussing weight loss? Is that what it was?
Maybe a
I
little.
was trying to encourage you by fat shaming you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sending you lean elk
It worked.
meat.
Yeah.
Listen, I have food for you back in L.A., but I got to get you in touch with my security guy. He'll get you into the studio and he'll give
Okay.
you some elk meat.
It's the only meat I eat.
Yeah, because I'm going to have to. I got one this year already.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to have to ship some of that meat back out here soon.
Oh, man.
So,
So
get a cooler. You got
Okay.
Do you have a freezer at your house?
No, I just have this tiny fridge in the garage. Maybe I should get a freezer.
If you get a commercial freezer, I could fill it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm the only one that eats meat in my house.
Really? So sad.
It's me and the dog.
That's why you're the man.
That's right.
That's why you dominate. Are they all tired and sleepy all the time?
Yes, they're anemic.
Are they?
No joke.
Really?
Yes.
That's sad.
Yes.
They won't eat meat?
And it's so like no.
Do they not eat meat for health reasons? Because obviously that's not working. Or is it
It was
a
animal
moral thing?
animal sympathy, empathy. Yeah, they just
Yeah.
love the animals and
You should
and
show me
my
a
wife
video of
taught my daughters the same.
what happens to elk if you don't eat them.
If what happens to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolves eat them.
They're not
Bears
opposed.
eat them.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. And it's funny because
What are you saying? They're not opposed to.
they're not opposed to the dog eating meat.
Well, that's good. You don't want the dog to die.
like they literally ask like, is there any meat around? Like, because I'll make it, and like I'll make a steak, and then there's always some left over, and there's, and she's like encouraging it now because the dog showed up in our life, and
Right.
and she eats meat, so
Dude, they go crazy. You ever see feed
they
your
love
dog
it.
liver?
Oh, that is one of the best things.
You should feed your dog liver.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Marshall, my dog Marshall, who you'll meet later today, is the sweetest dog the world's ever known.
Yeah.
Loves everybody, but the wolf in him comes out when he smells liver.
Oh really?
Like he has this like wild-eyed look when you feed him liver. He's like twitchy. Like I give him
Wow.
pieces of liver. He's like,
Because it's so packed with
it's something
iron and
in his DNA understands
Yeah.
that liver is like the number one thing. That's the
It's-
best thing to get.
that's so great. And
When a
my
wolf
dog
kills
now,
an alpha, the alpha eats the liver.
oh really?
Yeah.
It's the
There
prize.
it is. That's Marshall with a little bird. I found him. He wasn't paying attention. I was calling him and he wasn't paying attention. And I see him staring out the window. And there's a little bird that I think the bird flew into the window.
Oh,
and
it was hurt.
Conked himself.
Yeah.
And so the bird's just sitting there and Marshall's just tweaking hard.
Oh man.
Staring at this bird. But the little birdie eventually flew off. But Marshall,
Just
who's
instinct, man.
Yeah.
My sister has two dogs, two hounds, and she's had a chicken coop forever, and the chicken in there is like 12 years old, like an old
Whoa.
chicken.
that's old.
Yeah, and she still was producing eggs, kind of. You know, it's just part of the family in a way. It's just been there forever.
hound
And the
died.
dogs, and somehow someone left something open, and those hounds ripped her apart.
Yep.
Just lived with it like for years, no problem, no nothing. As soon as they had the opportunity,
Can't help themselves.
they could not help themselves.
My dog Johnny actually broke through the chicken coop. He figured out a way to get inside the chicken coop, and he went on a rampage.
Oh,
He killed like
Yeah.
eight or nine of them. I forget.
oh my
By the
God.
time I got to him, there's just bodies all over the place.
Oh,
But I had
brutal.
at that time, I think I had 20 plus chickens, so there were so many chickens for him to kill.
shit.
It took a while for me to figure out what was going on. My wife screamed out, "Why is Johnny in the chicken coop?" I'm like, "Fuck!" And I ran out there and grabbed him.
Oh
you have eaten
man.
them, or like is it just
They
kill
don't.
Thing,
They
right?
just
Oh,
kill him.
He's
Yeah.
well fed.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Like, it's just like
just for fun.
It was just for shits and giggles.
Just have
Yeah.
a good
little
time.
rat terriers killing the rats.
Well, did I tell you the whole story about him where he was talked into killing chickens by a coyote?
Talked into it.
Yeah, man.
They had
it
to
was-
sit down in the bar.
There's a thing that happens with coyotes that's really amazing. They're clever.
Mm-hmm.
They're clever in a very specific way.
Uh-huh.
And this is what was happening. My my chickens, when female chickens don't have a rooster, they lay eggs, but the eggs never become baby chicks, right? So this is what people don't know that are vegetarians. Like, you can eat eggs guilt-free because eggs will never become a chicken.
Right.
Like people want to look at it like you're doing some harm to the chicken.
Right.
But if you have pets, chickens as pets, and you just let them free range, they run around, they eat bugs, they eat grass, they eat all these different things. They give you this incredibly nutritious eggs, and you don't have to worry. Like, there's no bad karma. No one's getting hurt. They just
popping out eggs.
But every now and then, the chicken will decide that this egg is going to hatch, and they'll molt. And I think it's called brooding. That's what it's called. And they'll start picking their feathers off their body so that they can have skin on the egg, and they won't get off that egg. And you come near them, they peck at you. They want to preserve that egg because in their head, they're confused as to why they're not having chicks.
Right.
In their little dinosaur brain.
So
I had to take them, and I would separate them from the other chicks, and you had to put them in a smaller container where they couldn't sit on the thing. So you had to put a perch. So when you put them in a container with a perch, then their legs clutch on the perch, and they sit there in a smaller chicken coop, and then they would eventually get over it. And then you could let them back in. They would act normal again.
Wow.
But otherwise, they would damage themselves. They'd peck at themselves, and it was real weird.
That is weird. When you say they decide, does that mean that all eggs could, and they just pick this one out? Or
No.
They have a feeling like this one is going to have it.
No eggs can ever become a chick.
Gotcha.
The only way an egg can be a chick is if there's a rooster.
Gotcha.
So if these chickens, these female chickens, which, by the way, I didn't know until I was 40.
Yeah.
I thought they just fucking had an egg, and the egg became a chick, and you were eating it before it became a chick.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's
why you get a feather in it once in a while.
I put zero thought into it until we had chickens, and then we realized that there's this brooding thing where they have to hold on to the So you have to basically take them. If you don't do it, they'll go through a full cycle, like 30 days of brooding, and they won't lay any other eggs, and it's like they get real weird.
Right.
But they also they damage themselves. They pluck all their feathers out and shit. But if you take them and you put them in this small container for a number of days, like I forget how many days it is, they'll eventually get over it, and then they act normal again. So we did that, and then I put this smaller container on the outside of the larger chicken coop, right? Because for whatever reason, I didn't bring it inside. I just put it outside of there. The coyote became friends with Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash is a mastiff, and he was a fucking tank.
Right.
He's 140 pounds, head like a fire hydrant, dumb as shit, right? And the coyote was super clever, and the coyote was his friend. So the coyote would hop the fence and hang out with him. And he had decided, because the coyote was way too small to eat him. It's like the coyote's only probably 35 pounds.
Sure.
But the coyote got him convinced that they're buddies. So the coyote would come visit, and Johnny would see it outside the fence, like, hello. And so one day, somebody left the gate open, where the way the house was set up, the dog could stay on one side and the chicken coop was on the other side. So I didn't have to worry about him because he's so strong. He could literally go through the chicken coop, which he eventually did. He pulled the chicken wire apart and just slaughtered in there. But before he did that, the coyote convinced him to go to the box where that one chicken was and knock it over. So I am sitting there, and we were playing games. We were playing like Sorry or something with my family. And I look out the window, and I see this fucking coyote with a chicken in its mouth running across my yard and bounces over my fence like it doesn't exist. I mean, it's like, you can't believe how graceful they are.
I know.
6-foot fence, just like this. Bing, bing, bong, gone with a chicken in his
Effortless.
mouth. I'm running out chasing him. You motherfucker. And then I go over, and I'm like, how did he get the chicken? And then I go over to where the chicken coop is, and somebody had let Johnny over that side, and he's destroyed the chicken coop, the small coop. And he's just looking at me like, hey, man, what's up?
Coyote
and I'm like,
said
what
it was
the
cool.
fuck did you do? And then I realized, oh, my God, the coyote tricked him into knocking this thing over, and then it stole the chicken because it was hanging out with him.
The coyote told me you'd want me to knock it over.
He wasn't barking at the coyote. He wasn't acting like the coyote was an intruder. In his mind, the coyote was like my other dog. dog. It was like his friend.
Right.
They were buddies.
Let's do this. Come on, it'll be cool.
Exactly. Like he didn't even know what it was.
He
What do
got
you want me
peer
to do?
pressured into
What do you
it.
want me to do? You want me to knock that over? I'll knock that over. Boom. And
Joe
he
said I should do it?
shatters
Okay.
his box, and the caddy's like, "Thanks, sucker." Woo! Boing. It just bounces over
They
the
are
fence.
smart.
But I spent the rest of the day going like, what did it do?
Yeah.
How did it know that he could do that?
Right.
Like how did it was it-
Probably.
or did it just think maybe we'll work together and we can do it? Did it know? Look how big that thing is. I think that thing could probably break this. Did it understand?
Yeah, it does. It sizes it up. My wife was walking. We have a new dog in the house. We have a pug named Frank.
Oh.
New addition to the house.
When did you get Frank?
Like 4 weeks ago. I rescued it. My one daughter went to school, and my other daughter replaced her with a pug. And my wife is walking the black lab, Bella, and Frank the pug. And she's just walking them, on the sidewalk. And she ran into a coyote in the middle of the street. Coyote, pretty big one. And she said she was making noise, trying to get it off, and she said he wasn't moving. He was just he was like sizing up, kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Looking at Frank, this little edible pug, but seeing my wife in this black lab, and she said he was just trying to figure out
What he could do.
what could he do? And my wife was making a lot of noise, trying to push him away.
Aw,
And
look at
eventually
him.
he went,
There's your little pug.
oh yeah, there's Frank.
Look at that little face.
It's a great name for a
He's
pug.
adorable.
Yeah, he's pretty great. They're not that bright.
Yeah, well, they eat those things all day long.
Yeah.
Coyotes snatch those up from yards all day long.
It's a fun dog name to be like, come on, Frank.
I had
It's
a
like
dog
you're
named
talking
Frank
to a guy
Sinatra.
from the 50s. You had a Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, I had Frank Sinatra, Johnny Cash.
Isn't Frank great? Talking
Yeah.
to Frank is great.
Yeah.
What are you doing,
Come on,
Frank?
Frank.
Frank, not in the office.
He looks like a Frank.
Frank. We've never had a pug before.
Oh, really? They're cute dogs. Look
Yeah.
at that little face.
Look at that face.
Look at them.
Hilarious. They're not that bright.
You got to keep them away from fucking coyotes, man.
Yeah. The coyotes are gonna come and take it. Maria Bamford, great comedian. Great comedian. She adopts pugs. She has like 5 at a time, and only adopts them like at 10 years old, like the end of their life when people aren't caring for them. It's how big-hearted.
for her.
How big-hearted she is. She brings them in and cares for them to the end of their life.
Whitney has about 100 dogs at her fucking house.
Does she really?
She's always got dogs. She's always adopting. She just send me pictures. Look at this new dog I got. I'm like, bitch, how many dogs do you have?
I went to her house. I did a backyard
saw that.
stand-up thing. Me and Tim Dillon.
People were criticizing her for that backyard stand-up show. She tested everybody.
Oh, please.
They're all comics. Everybody wore masks.
Yeah, it
and
was
she
totally
people
safe.
were like, "You're putting people at risk."
Oh, snooze fest.
Professional comedians were saying that.
What?
Yes.
Which ones?
You know, ones with money that don't worry about making a living.
Oh,
that don't want
God.
anybody to do any dates at all, even if it's just fun.
Oh, shut your trap.
Oh, it's so gross.
Shut your trap.
This whole risk shaming thing.
Oh, my God.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, you're
Exactly.
putting people at risk.
That was another thing in the article. Sorry to go way back to the pandemic. Another thing that countries that have done things well, they don't shame people into their actions. If you give them the information and let them act on their own,
Well, you got to take Twitter away.
if you shame them and yell at them and we're better than you and you tell them what to do and you're going to shame the shit out of them, then they'll rebel.
You make Trumpers.
Right. You'll rebel. You're like, don't tell me what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's human nature, man. That's
Oh,
what
please.
That's what
Those people
do.
are gross. Let people go perform. I went and performed in Portland.
Is anybody giving you any grief for doing shows?
No.
Wait till after the show. They will.
Oh, F them.
They're coming for you. They're coming for you.
Yeah. Talk to me about the waitresses that were almost losing their apartments and are
Yeah.
back at work.
Sure.
Talk to me about the people that are subsiding their anxiety by finally getting out of the house and hearing comedians
Listen, I'm with
translate
you.
stuff.
I think you should be able to take risks. We are almost 7 months into this thing.
Yeah.
And the idea that you're supposed to stay home until there's a cure is fucking insane.
It's insane.
It's not. It's untenable. It doesn't make any sense. And obviously, you can navigate it. You can navigate these waters.
You
If
can.
You do it safely. You wear a mask. You take care of your health. You take vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin C. Drink a lot of water. Get a lot of rest.
And whatever's good for you.
Get tested.
If you're vulnerable and you don't want to go, you don't go. But if the governor of that state says it's okay, and the mayor says it's okay, and the club owner is doing all the right things, and the staff is there, and the people show up, we've all decided as a collective that this is okay for
We're
us.
adults. And
Right.
if we're out there bungee jumping or riding bulls or any other dangerous activities,
That's right.
we should be able to do that. And the other argument,
right.
the argument against that, of course, is that you're going to transmit it to someone else. Don't fucking do that, okay? If you get yourself tested, if you have
That's
a
right.
vulnerable person in your household, don't do anything risky.
That's right.
But you can be tested now. It is possible. You can find out.
100%.
And Trump kicked it, and he's fat, and he's 74. You need to get on the same shit they put The Rock on when he was doing Fast and the Furious.
Can you imagine?
Run
the
through
stuff-
walls. The Rock got COVID, and he was on one of the most difficult things me and my family have ever been through. Meanwhile, you're like, come on, son.
Come on.
You look great, and I've been watching your Instagram the whole time.
Yeah,
You never even
exactly. You
coughed.
didn't even flinch.
You didn't even cough. You never stopped posting.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult things my family and I have ever done. And I'm a giant Rock fan. I
Oh,
fucking
man.
love that guy.
He is jacked. Holy cow.
He's so inspirational. He's
know.
always getting after it. If you're lazy, there's 3 people you need to go look at. Cameron Haynes, David Goggins, and The Rock. Go pay
Yeah.
attention to those. They will get you off your fucking lazy ass.
They sure will.
And people
What was
think,
the-
oh, that's frivolous. Like, listen, it's not.
I know.
It's mental strength is an important thing to have.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can grow. You can cultivate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a thing that you see in other people, you admire it. And a lot of people, they like to pretend they don't admire it because they don't have it in themselves. And so they try to dismiss it.
It's inspiring.
But those people, Goggins and Cam Haynes and The Rock, people that are constantly, Kevin Hart is another one too, constantly hustling, always getting after it.
Always moving.
Those people are very valuable to humanity.
Oh, God,
They
yeah.
really are. And
God, yeah.
but people who they consider themselves intellectuals or at least intelligent or artists or whatever, they look at those people as like they're doing something frivolous, and that like maybe perhaps my support of it is just reinforcing the meathead part of me that I enjoy,
come on.
which is true. I'm a meathead. It's a fact.
Well,
There's no
that's
getting
true,
around it. There's no getting
but-
around it. I'm a meathead.
but you
I like
inspire a lot
muscle
of people.
cars. I like bow hunting. I like meathead type shit.
Right.
Okay, but I also like to read.
Yeah.
and I also like intelligent things. I like interesting discussions, but.
And you get motivated to work really
The
hard.
mind is the hard part. Getting your mind to force your body to do things.
Yeah.
When your mind starts concocting all these excuses and starts coming up with all these different ways why you don't have to do that.
Very clever.
It's a sneaky bitch, your mind.
Really clever.
And you got to conquer it. You got to conquer your inner bitch.
Yeah.
You got to figure out a way to tell that motherfucker to shut up, and you start working.
Yep.
And once you start sweating and things start moving along, you get
get
a
healthier.
sense of satisfaction.
That's right, exactly. You had one post. Literally, I saw it as I was doing a pour over coffee in the morning before my radio show, and you said something like, "My inner bitch wanted me to go and just have coffee and skip the workout." And I was sitting there, like literally making the coffee.
I did. That was a hard day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard.
You
man.
for me, and I always feel silly talking about working out in front of you anyway, but as long as I know when I'm doing it in the day, if it's going to be right after the radio show, as soon as I turn it off and then go on, like I just have to know.
Just
I
have to
can't-
schedule.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't have it loose. Like sometime in the afternoon does not work.
Yes.
I have to know exactly.
That's
when.
how I am with writing as well.
Yeah.
I have to have my writing. I have to know I'm writing today at 3 p.m. I will show up. I will flip open that laptop. I
Yeah.
will fucking fire it up.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is show up. Just
Exactly.
show up. There's this great book on writing rituals. All these different writers, and they tell you it's just what each author did,
What's it
and
called?
some painters. Something rituals. I'll have to
I
look
feel
it
like
up.
you told me about this before.
I think I have. I'll get you a copy.
Okay.
That'll be my mission. It's so great. Just you keep it at your end table just to kind of like pop it open and just see how these people, just that some of them are really decadent, some of them are really puritanical, but they had it.
Well, the best one is
They
Hunter
knew
S.
what it
Thompson.
was.
Hunter S. Thompson, there was a beardy man, took me and Fitzsimmons reading Hunter S. Thompson's Ritual and put it into music.
Oh,
and
really?
made a song. Do you think we could play that?
Are you allowed?
I wonder if we could play that because I'm in it. I mean, I gave him the rights to use it.
Uh-huh.
What do you think happens there? It's kind of an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice guy. It's weird, like what you can get away with and what
Yeah.
you can't get away with, man.
Who owns it? Who's
It's not me.
whose
I
thing?
certainly don't own it, but I let him use our voice. But it's me and Fitzsimmons reading Hunter S. Thompson's schedule. Like he had a writer come visit him, and the writer like observed what he did in the day.
And was his ritual? He would do it every day.
Yeah, play this.
All right, here's his daily routine. 3 p.m. rise. 3:05 Chivas Regal with morning papers. Smokes Dunhills. 3:45 cocaine. 3:50 another glass of Chivas. Another Dunhill. 4:05 p.m. By the way, first cup of coffee and a Dunhill. 4:15 cocaine. 4:16 orange juice and another Dunhill. 4:30 cocaine. 4:54 cocaine. 5:05 cocaine. 5:11 coffee Dunhills. 5:30 get more ice in the Chivas. Cocaine at 5:45. 6 o'clock smoking grass. Take the edge off the day. 7 p.m.
The day, 3 hours into it.
3 hours in, lit. 7:05 Woody Creek Tavern for lunch. Heineken, 2 margaritas, coleslaw, a taco salad, double order of fried onion rings, carrot cake, ice cream, a bean fritter, Dunhills, another Heineken, cocaine. And for the rest of the ride home, a snow cone, a glass of shredded ice, which is poured over 4 jiggers of Chivas. Okay, so the snow cone is Chivas. Okay, 9 p.m. Start snorting cocaine seriously, it says. 10 p.m. drops acid. 11 p.m. chartreuse, I don't know what that is, cocaine and grass. 11:30 cocaine, etc., etc. 12 midnight. Hunter S. Thompson is ready to write. That's when he sits down to write. 12:05 to 6 a.m. he writes. Chartreuse, cocaine, grass, Chivas, coffee, Heineken, clove cigarettes, grapefruit, Dunhills, orange juice, gin, continuous pornographic movies. 6 a.m. in the hot tub with champagne, Dove bars, fettuccine Alfredo. 8 a.m. Halcyon, just sleeping pill. 8:20 sleep.
Oh my God! I
What a
can't believe he
fucking
shot
animal.
himself. I can't
What
believe.
a fucking animal. Well, he's in serious pain. He had hip replacements, and he was
my
all
God.
fucked up.
Man, oh
Yeah,
man.
you can only.
That's. I
you
can't
can
call
only
that
throw-
a ritual.
You can only throw that much sand into the engine
Yeah, right. Exactly.
where the block seizes
It's
up.
gonna seize.
It was sad towards the end of his life because he couldn't
man.
talk. Like,
Yeah.
there's a famous interview with him on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
And he had lost his ability to communicate. Like, where's all sorry.
Oh, the worst.
He would just was so compromised by alcohol and
Done.
drugs. He couldn't talk anymore.
That is the worst. That really is bad. It's I was looking at this this video of David Lynch talking about TM. You know, I'm into TM.
Transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was talking about that the people that are in pain that are drinking like that and taking the drugs, artists that are doing that stuff, that ends up killing the art. And that if you can find something else for your brain that gets you away from those things, you'll be able to create. But that all of those drug-fueled, alcohol-fueled artistic endeavors and artistic lives all just burn out. They just you've killed it. You've killed the part of you that's going to be able to create. And it's true. All those stories don't end in a way.
Stanhope's still kicking.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. Doing great.
Yeah.
Tell David Lynch to suck it.
We'll see.
Honestly, I think that's a generalization. Because I think
it's a pretty.
I think that drugs and alcohol can be tools. I think the problem is
in short bursts.
The inclination that people have to excess and is often what leads them astray. It's like this inclination to just keep boozing and keep drugging, and year after year, day after day, eventually your body falls apart.
Right.
This is why I'm doing Sober October.
Yeah,
It's
how's
nice.
it going?
It's nice.
You feel
Like it.
good?
I'm fucking sore.
You're all by yourself.
I know no one's doing
You're
it
all
with me.
alone.
But I'm sore. I've been working out. I decided to work out every day for the whole month.
Oh,
See
really?
what that's like. Yeah.
Oh, wow. What's your
It's-
normal schedule?
I take days off.
Yeah.
Normally I take a couple days off a week.
Right.
But I've just been forcing myself to do what I would call active recovery. So I mix it up. So like days, I just do different things on different days. And I'm just trying to keep it going. One of the things I've become real obsessed with is this thing called the Rogue Echo bike.
Uh-huh.
You know what that is?
No.
You know what an Airdyne bike is?
Yeah.
You do your handles, and then you basically, it's wind resistance.
Yeah, that big
it's
wheel.
a fan.
Yeah.
This is like the most brutal version of that.
Oh, yeah?
It's a really rugged, tough piece of equipment, and I I've become obsessed with seeing how much I can do on it. It's really weird. Like I started doing these Tabata rounds. I would do like 4 rounds. 4 rounds are you do 8 Tabatas, which is 20 seconds of sprinting followed by 10 seconds of rest, and you do that for a cycle of 8. Like you do that 8 times.
How long? How far?
It takes 4 minutes to do 8 times.
No, how far is the sprint?
No, it does just time.
Oh,
you're just doing time because you're not going anywhere.
Or you're on
right?
the bike. I'm sorry.
You're on the bike. Pay attention.
Sprint.
You're not even listening to me.
I'm on drugs.
So you do that. It takes 4 minutes, and I would do that. I started off doing it. I would just do it like 4 times, which is 16 minutes. 16 minutes of like sprinting, which is hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
And then I moved it up to 8, and then I moved it up to 10. And then I moved it up to 13. So now I'm basically at 52 minutes of sprinting and resting. And it's done. It's amazing for my cardio.
Yeah.
But you just rest and recover. And then I have this day of dread where I know today I'm doing the Airdyne bike.
Right.
And then I start fucking with my head and I start saying, okay, pussy, today you're going to do 15. You're going to do 15 sets. Each one is 4 minutes long. Ready, go. And once you get through one, you go, okay, 13 more to go, 14 more to go, 13, 12, 11, and you just keep going. And then when you get to 7, you feel the finish line coming. And then you get to 6 and to 5, and you're fucking, I'm drenched with sweat, right? And I'm taking liquid IV in these big 2-liter bottles, and I'm chugging it.
Jeez.
I've become crazy with
It's just the starting that's the hard part.
It's the dread.
Yeah.
It's the dread.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find ways to avoid doing this because I'm doing it 3 days a week sprinting on this thing.
That's amazing. Good for you.
But my quads, my legs are getting big. It's
Mine are getting big too.
What are you doing? Getting fat?
Peloton.
Oh, sorry.
What? Do I look fat?
No. You look great.
I hit
Peloton's awesome.
I hit a 61-week streak.
You did it 61 weeks in a row?
I'm at 61 weeks and still alive.
That's amazing.
It's good.
How many days a week are you doing it?
3.
And when you do it, are you following the same course?
No.
Or do you have like different instructors? You follow their workouts?
I've got this great, I only like one instructor. I have this guy, Matt Wilpers, he's not partying on the bike. There's a lot of, everyone has their different soul cycle kind of a,
right.
Girls flirting. And Wilpers is like a coach. He's like just dialed in.
Hardcore.
He's like a high school coach kind of a thing. And he's just all about, hitting these zones and doing the stuff. But he keeps coming out with new ones. So like every week he drops like, a 60-minute or a 45-minute. And it just keeps me motivated. It keeps me in.
And it has music, so you're going along to the music.
He's got music.
And he's coaching you.
And he's coaching you. He's like, okay.
Telling you crank it up, let it go, all that stuff.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Hit
Peloton's
the zone.
awesome. They also have a treadmill now too, right?
Yeah.
There was a place that when we were working in Phoenix once, and we went to this gym. We were doing stand-up in Phoenix, and we went to this gym during the day, and they had these cardio machines that were exactly what I always wanted. I said, why can't someone come up with a cardio machine where as you're running, you're doing like a video game? And so so you had like fire in your left hand, and I think what you did with your right hand.
Yeah.
But it was like an elliptical machine, and the only way you went forward is by doing this. So you got the screen in front of you,
cool.
and you were shooting, pew, 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 and then you would turn it, pew, pew, pew. And you were
Who
actually
are you shooting?
I forget what you were shooting
Nazis?
at. I think you were in a tank and you were shooting at like other objects.
That's
It wasn't so sophisticated where you had like there's a thing that they're doing where I know there was a concept at least where they had VR goggles and you had this omnidirectional treadmill. So you'd be harnessed by the waist, and the omnidirectional treadmill would go in any way. And so you would run left and run right, and you'd shoot at this and shoot at that, but you'd actually be getting exercise in because you're on this self-propelled omnidirectional treadmill.
Cool.
Have you ever used a self-propelled treadmill?
No.
Dude.
No.
We have this thing
Just
called
the
the Air
regular
Runner
ones.
at the old studio, and I miss it. It's amazing.
Really?
It's 15% harder than regular running because it's at this little slope, and you're pulling to get it to go. And as you get it to go, like you're keeping up this pace, it's very difficult.
Wow.
It's really good, though.
Like running on the beach. Like in the sand.
Running on the beach pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
it's
good.
not quite the same as that, but it's really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, if you could have something like that where it's difficult to do, but also fun.
Yeah.
Like you put on these goggles and you're doing Halo or something, or you're in Quake.
Yeah.
You know, and you're running down the hallway and shooting at things. I mean,
Yeah,
what
that'd
a
be cool.
workout you would get.
That'd be really cool. If you get it behind you and have like someone's coming up behind you, you got to outrun them.
Because think about how many people get addicted to video games.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Video games are extremely addictive.
Sure.
If you can get addicted to something that actually gives you cardio, where you're running 4 or 5 hours in a day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So the only way you get good at this game is by drinking a lot of water, taking vitamins, eating clean.
Yeah, come on.
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's make it.
Well, I think they're really close to doing something like that.
You've tried that game, Beat Saber, where you're swinging the sticks. When
John Carmack was a wizard of that shit.
When you have that ramped up, granted, maybe if you made those weighted, so it's not weightless in your hand.
Yeah.
I've played that for like an hour or two. You get pretty sweaty if you're doing good. Like if
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're not fucking up every 30 seconds. But
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when
Having to stop.
we put that boxing game on and I was whacking all these opponents and I was getting tired.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a good workout.
I get tired during Dance Dance Revolution.
Because if you actually know how to box a little, you could fuck those guys up.
You're right.
So those guys would come at me and be like, pop, pop, and I would duck under it. But you're actually
Man.
you're moving, and when you get hit, the light flashes like
How
you got
cool
hit.
is that?
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Like if you could dial that in and be like, go against Tyson or go against,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like go against Ali. Like that would be.
They will definitely have that someday.
Frazier coming at
eventually.
you.
The thing would be cool is if you could actually hit something.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually had like a thing in front of you that you would hit.
Yeah, like a heavy bag.
Right, because right now it's not that way. Right now it's just air, so you're just swinging in air.
Right.
And when it's like poop poop, like when you
If
hit
you had
it,
the
it makes
goggles
noise.
on
Right.
and a heavy bag in front of you,
You might hurt
and you
yourself.
see it and poof, poof, poof.
You might hurt yourself. The problem with that is like if you swung and you thought that the bag was here, but the bag is right here, you might like hurt your wrist or something. It really depends on. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it could be like a really spongy bag.
Yeah.
Like a light water bag.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have water. Have you ever hit a water bag?
No.
They're really good because they don't. There's weight to them, but they don't have the same. Like sometimes people have a problem with actual heavy bags because the impact is so jarring on your joints. If you hit hard, especially like Roy Jones was here yesterday and he was talking about it. He hits these little paddles, and instead of like regular mitts, because he hits so hard. Like, he doesn't want to hurt his hands. So he's like, bop, bop, whap, whap. And so he's just whipping into these paddles. And the paddles offer very little resistance. They just make this slap.
Right. Just for the quickness of it.
Yes.
Right.
So if you could have something like that, maybe.
Right.
Where it was like, you hit it, but it's not hurting you.
It's
Something
got it.
light.
Like, it just seems like the fun part of it, of like you being able to go against legends.
Yeah.
You know, like that's got to be a thing.
Someone's already done
making
it.
this on their own. I just found this is
look
a
at
test
that.
they made.
Oh, so it shows you the spots to hit.
Yeah,
that's
would be
cool.
what you would want, right?
Yes, that's a
Right.
great idea. That's a great idea.
Does that bag look like it's set up right?
Well,
Like,
the bag is actually virtual, right? So like there's a virtual bag, but then a physical bag. So the virtual bag, what the goggles are doing is picking up on the actual position of the real bag. So when you're hitting it, even with these fake gloves, the distance is correct. So if you're seeing the way this guy, look at the video, the way this, oh, now he's punching the wall? Oh, that's a Makawara. But so there he's just doing that for reflexes. Go back to the bag part, though. Let me see the bag part again.
now, if you could make that square.
But see how he's hitting it? Like he knows
Show
where the
Frazier.
bag is. He's hitting it in the correct distance. So it's showing him accurately where the bag is. So as he moves forward, it's representing where the bag is. Pretty dope.
Yeah, they're getting there.
Yeah.
It's going to come, right? I mean, that would, come on. Be
Yeah.
able to run like against Carl Lewis. That would be pretty cool
I don't know
stuff.
about all that.
Come on, man. Make it a little fun.
Yeah.
But the Peloton for my thing it's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they could combine something like, see if you can find that omnidirectional treadmill plus VR game. Because there was a thing that they were doing. I don't remember what the game was. They were working on it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was in beta.
Yeah.
And they were just trying to figure out how to do it. But they wanted to do it with like Quake or Doom or one of those 3D shooters where you'd be running with like a plastic gun and you'd run down and shoot at things.
It seems like that's like the gyms of the future, like getting a kayak and you're going down a roaring river, or
Sure.
you know what I mean, like all that running through the
Yeah.
like the mountains, and
Yeah.
like, that's probably where the gyms are going to head.
Or how about you're running and like wolves are chasing you? Yeah. You're on this treadmill, you turn around VR and you see like glowing eyes of
Yeah,
wolves.
This is
Come
probably
on.
the best looking one I saw used. There's a couple different ones I remember.
And that's
seeing.
an omnidirectional treadmill as well.
Yeah, so I remember the one. I was like the one you're talking about is a little concave, I think, right?
It was circular.
Okay, so this straps you in the same way, but the way the ground moves can go all directions. Let's see if it.
Let me see this guy get in there.
He's
So
a-
the oh what?
He's got goggles on.
Look at
He's
that.
a robot.
Oh, that's so dope. Look at that.
He's pretty. Yeah,
So is he
he's psyched.
harnessed into that treadmill?
He's not.
No.
His avatar looks like a robot.
Oh, so it
in the
does go.
woods.
That's
it-
for tracking. That little thing on the back.
Right.
So it seems like it's. Oh, that's so awkward. They just need to get that better.
Yeah. It's the beginnings
Or
of it.
really, what you really could get is like.
This one he is strapped in.
Look at that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Look
Now
at
he's
that.
in Inception. He's walking down
yeah.
the street in Inception.
So is that a treadmill? What is it? Yep, that's a treadmill.
It's a little treadmill.
That's what I'm talking about. Something like that where you're strapped
Wow.
into an omnidirectional treadmill.
That looks like you'd fall off it.
Look how dope that is.
Oh, he's strapped in.
Yeah, so he can kind of move anywhere. Oh, come
We're getting
on.
there, kids.
Come
We're
on,
getting there.
bro.
He's,
How badass is this?
yeah.
And if you had ankle weights on and wrist weights, what a fucking workout you would get.
That would be pretty. You would work out so much you would die.
I don't know if you die.
Because you'd be so
You'd be
into the
shredded.
game. Yeah, you'd be so into it.
Yeah, you come back
It'd
like
be
6 months
addicting.
later. Like, what happened? Tom, you got a fucking six pack? What's going on?
Yeah, you'd want to play for like hours and hours,
Yeah.
right?
I got really into boom zats on the VR.
Boom.
It's a good name. Boom zats. Yeah. I mean, that if you could figure out a way to turn your addiction into something positive, right?
Yeah, now you're talking.
Like the best way to do it for those video game guys is to become a professional gamer.
Yeah.
Or you can actually make a shitload of money
Yeah.
playing professional games. But if you could figure out a way for regular people that have no desire to do that to use it as recreation and then get fit. Because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people got fit with Dance Dance Revolution.
I know it's no joke.
No joke.
I was exhausting. I was like my girls were little at the time, and we're dancing and doing that thing. It was like I had to sit down on the couch.
Dude, sometimes you go to an arcade, like at a bowling alley or something, you watch some dude who's like an expert at that shit, and you're like, oh, okay. You're river dancing. You're like one of those guys. Remember those river dance commercials?
Yeah, there was a funny. Well, wasn't like a Nick Swartzen movie, like when he
Was he river
really
dancing?
good at that and that Dance Revolution in the arcade. He's like real intense.
Was it a Sandler movie?
I think so.
That he was in? Maybe?
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that stuff. Yeah, you playing the Wii when we would do the Wii and
Oh,
play tennis and all
yeah.
that stuff together. You're moving.
What happened?
This one can hold your. I was gonna see around.
Look,
if
she's
it's like-
swimming.
Oh, look at that.
Listen again, that first one I showed you, it said it weighed 1,000 pounds. So that gets into like it's gonna be an issue getting them into a place where you could use it.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
This is a little smaller. I don't even know what this is called, silver cord, I guess. But
Oh, she's kicking things.
it's holding her weight up. So
Wow.
she can
This is
swim.
wild.
She's doing the breaststroke. She's being
That's pretty crazy.
hung in the air doing the breaststroke.
That is wild.
That's cool.
Because if you can walk in VR, I feel like the next step is you're going to want to be able to jump. And if you can't physically jump, you have to hit a button to jump. That pulls you right
Right.
back out, and it kind of
Right.
gets
You
weird.
could jump and land on things like bam.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
They're getting there.
Yeah. But it just seems
Come
like
on, tech.
it's a perfect sort of mesh, the perfect mixing of a healthy activity with an addictive activity.
Right.
Like you can turn a positive into a negative because
Yeah.
the negative has always been, for me at least, they're just a massive waste of my time. I get
Video
crazy with
games.
video games. I can't fuck with them.
I know.
Like Jamie and I talked about it, like with the new place. Like when we go to Texas, we're gonna bring the video games. Like no, I can't. I
Because you can't just play a little bit.
No,
No.
it's to me, it's like a cocaine addict.
I came in one day
Diving
when you
back
were in
in.
that back room playing, and you were in a frenzy. I was like, I'm just gonna wait over here. You were like,
Well, they're so fun.
Yeah.
they're so good, and they're so well. I mean, it's too good.
Yeah.
It's too exciting.
right?
You know, it really is.
Yeah.
It's too good.
And you had really high tech stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the graphics
servers
today,
and- yeah.
they're just amazing. What they can do today with video games is just so special.
Yeah.
When people get shot, they explode. You see blood splatter all over the place, and they don't look like people either, right? They look
Yeah.
like ogres with like mechanical arms, and so they make
Yeah.
noise like.
If only you could do it for 20 minutes. and be satisfied.
Yeah, please.
It'd be good.
Well, the way to do it would be to make sure that you get exhausted doing it, right?
Right.
So that you could
Right.
you could only play because you're running on this omnidirectional treadmill.
Right.
And if you did that, like put like 10-pound weights on your arms.
Yeah.
10-pound weights on each arm, 10-pound weights on each leg. Bro, you'd be beat.
Yeah.
You'd be beaten down. Even 5 pounds. Fuck, even a pound.
No, I know. It's a
pound
lot.
on each
If
limb.
they just made you simulate carrying the guns you're running around in the game with, you'd be tired as shit.
Right.
That's a real good
Yeah.
point, right? Give you a real metal thing, like a heavy metal gun with a trigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fucking cannon. Don't. With something that kicks.
Body armor plus body armor
Yes.
plus your pack.
Haptic feedback, the whole deal. You get hit, you get zapped a little bit. Have you ever seen, you know what Sandbox is?
No.
Dude, Sandbox is a very similar situation. It's a VR game that you go to a warehouse and they have it set up so you have the parameters of the game and you put on a haptic feedback vest, you have VR goggles, and they hand you guns and these different things, and then you go and you duke it out with zombies. Like there's this one Deadwood Mansion, it's called. See if you find see this is what it looks like.
Right.
I've done this a bunch of times with my family. It's
Really?
awesome. It's awesome.
With your
And
family?
Yeah, you do it. You do it together, and you have fun. You go missions together. You shoot aliens and
And
zombies.
you feel like you're all in that reality?
I mean, kind of. It's
Right.
obviously fake, but it's
Sure.
it looks like that. Like when you see the video of
Right.
it looks like that. But it looks good. It's really cool. It's certainly discernible. Like this is Deadwood Mansion, so the zombies come running at you and you gun them down. Like look at them,
Right.
dude, it freaks you out. And you get a shotgun. Apparently that's the new update. You get a shotgun with the Deadwood Mansion. But they're running at you and you're fucking gunning them down. Look at them. That's what they look like. You're like, what?
And like,
that's
does
Deadwood
someone die?
Mansion.
Like, does your
you
wife
die.
go down and she's out of the game and you
No,
guys
she's
keep going?
not out of the game. You can bring her back to life, but you have to hold on to her shoulder and you recharge her with your energy.
That's pretty great.
So when you see them when they're down, they turn black and white, and then when you grab them, you go and you bring them back to life. And when you get killed, you see in black and white, so you know you're dead.
I have not gone, but
That's
I'm
pretty
wondering,
cool.
have your kids, or have you ever gone with them to like a VR haunted house, or does that exist yet? Because if it doesn't, that's going to be. I mean, they probably can't do it this year, obviously, but
Right.
Good call.
Of course. That would be great.
That would be a good call.
Really creepy.
walk around an entire place that's made for it.
Well, they had at Universal, they had a Walking Dead attraction, and they had actors. And so they had people like full on Walking Dead makeup, and like some of it was like mechanical, and some of it was
In the
like,
haunted house?
Yeah, and they would come out, but it was like a real person. You're like, fuck.
Right?
I walked
No
through that.
headsets, no.
My daughter lost a flip-flop and I had to go back for it.
She ran and left her flip flop.
She left her flip-flop. She was probably 10.
Oh, oh my
And
god! You
she-
brought her in at 10.
And she was too scared to go back, so I had to go back and get it. And
Pardon me.
Going the right, and everybody thought I was a thing.
Oh my
All the other
God.
people, I'm like just walking through, like looking for this
Look at
flip-flop.
this. Here's the scariest one yet.
Scary dad.
Oh my god! It's that guy from Italy.
Yeah, it was so funny.
What's his name again?
Carlo Verdone.
It's Carlo.
Verdone.
He's dead.
He's a dead. He's coming for to kill us.
Carlo, we miss you.
And I got the, and I found it. Found the flip-flop. Came back like a hero.
Oh, congratulations. Boy, what a low bar there is for being a hero in 2020. Did you get the flip flop, you fucking hero?
I got the flip-flop. I did it. Oh man, I feel like things will probably get weirder before they correct themselves, right?
See, look at this is the constant narrative.
Yeah.
We're having a good time, and then it goes back to COVID.
I
No matter
wasn't
what
even
you
thinking COVID. I was thinking like aliens coming or Halloween decorations coming to life and hunting us down. There's a couple more curveballs waiting for us.
Yeah, well, the Trump getting COVID, I thought was like, wow, this movie's lit.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a crazy fucking
was.
simulation,
It was
whatever we chose. Because I'm like, if he dies,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. If he dies and Nancy Pelosi becomes president and Pence and Pelosi are battling over who wears the crown.
Oh God, I know.
I mean, that was really what could have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Pence would have become vice president, would have become president, but then
he gets it.
what happens when we a month later is the election, right?
I
Then the election is not going to be. We're going to find out November 4th who the winner is.
Yeah.
It's going to be weeks, if
Unless
not
it's a landslide.
months. But I don't think you're gonna see a landslide.
If it's a landslide, then you'll find out that night or the
I don't
next day.
believe that's true.
If it's not a landslide, then if it's a landslide, I'm sorry, if it's a landslide with in-person voting.
Right, but it's not going to be. It's going to be so many mail-in ballots.
You don't know. I don't know.
Well, you know everything. You told me already. You know.
But I have to pretend that I don't, so the conversation keeps going.
What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win?
I don't know. I mean, they're saying that Biden's up like 16 points, but I mean, we've been through this before, right? I mean, it was 96% chance that Hillary was going to win, so I can't look at any of those.
Biden is up in polls. Polls are only answered by people so fucking stupid they answer polls. You always have to take that into consideration.
Right.
Here's what I say to people: have you ever responded to a poll?
Right?
Have you?
Nope.
There you go. No one with a life.
It's really true.
So people who are dumb think Biden should be president. Great. What is the numbers we're talking about? How many people?
Yeah, you don't know.
We only pull people with flat tires in white neighborhoods.
I do kind of.
They're waiting for AAA. It's the only time we can get them to talk to us. Like, who's being polled? I've never even seen a poll.
I don't know.
No one's asked me to poll. I don't know anybody who's been asked to poll.
Nope, never. I don't know if people.
I want more choices.
I think. Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
That's what I want. I want better choices. I don't want this polarization. I hate it.
Yeah. No, they should put together teams of like mixed. These four people and these four people of mixed ideas and get the best ideas, and then they're going to run as a platform rather than as an individual.
I think initially the idea of representative democracy and the idea of a Republican Party and a Democratic Party was a great idea. But I think the problem is people form this loyalty to this side and this blind loyalty, to their team, and then they have confirmation bias and everything this team does it's good, that's all you focus on, and you decide that this team's narrative is correct, and you subscribe full on to the ideology, and the other people are the enemy, and the other people are sexist and racist, or the other people are Marxist and leftist, or whatever you decide is wrong with the other people.
Could you imagine?
I think, but what I'm getting at is I think the problem is groups.
That's right.
The problem is identifying in any group, whether it's Antifa or Proud Boys or the fucking whatever. Figure out a group. Pick a group. The idea of identifying with a group is a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. Could you imagine being so all in with either party? Like, could you imagine that you're just blindly following everything they say just because they're that color?
Yeah, because I know a lot of people that do. I know a lot of people that are all blue, all they do.
I do too.
Up and down.
It's insane, though.
I've seen it on people's Twitter page. I vote blue across the board.
Yeah, it's like you stop thinking.
It's just nuts.
You just stop thinking for yourself. It's ridiculous.
But and the idea that only bad people vote Republican is ridiculous too. Or only dumb people or weak people or bad people vote Democrat is ridiculous too. And this narrative gets reinforced by the fact that there are these two opposing teams.
Right.
And that you have to pick a side.
Right.
And it's also reinforced by social pressure, like your neighbors and your friends and
social
coworkers.
Media.
And also the industry that you're in. In certain industries, it's frowned upon to vote left. In certain industries, it's frowned upon to vote right.
Yeah.
And you want to succeed in that business, and so you sort of like I mean, you know,
it's
how many hedge fund
break
people
up at
and,
some point.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do. I think it has to. I don't think one of the reasons I don't think if I would go out on a limb that I think Trump is going to lose is because people just can't deal with the anxiety. It's like we were saying earlier, like it can't be at a hot boil. We've been at a hot boil for 4 years and people are exhausted. They just want it to go back to someone calm. Just calm this shit down. Just calm it all down.
Well, it'd be nice if there was someone who you thought was going to calm it down. I don't know if that's
I think
really
anybody
the case.
but Trump would calm it down. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Put Romney in, put anybody in.
That I think.
Put anybody.
I do think that if Romney was he is a much more measured, much more calm guy.
Joe, compared to Trump, everybody is.
And the funny thing was against Obama, he looked like some sort of weird religious radical.
I know.
You remember?
I do.
People are like, get Romney the fuck away from us.
Right, exactly.
Romney?
I know.
You want Mitt Romney?
I'd vote for him tomorrow.
That weirdo.
I know.
That weirdo. He's a Quaker or some shit I heard.
Yeah, he wears magic underpants. He wears magic underpants. We can't have him in there.
He's a Mormon.
I know.
his
just a
dad's Mexican.
gentleman. Just a gentleman
Yeah.
who has a nice family who's just mellow.
He's in a really nice cult.
Look.
If you're going to be in a cult,
Yeah.
the Mormons are the nicest cult members.
So nice.
They're the kindest, sweetest people.
They're so nice.
They're
That whole
really
city is
family
just-
oriented.
Oh my God.
Like, out of all the cult members, I had neighbors that
All
were
kidding
Mormons.
aside.
They were so kind. They were
No.
so friendly.
100%.
So nice.
Delightful.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
Like, genuinely nice.
Yeah.
They believe the dumbest shit. I mean, it was like we talked to them about what they believe. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, God
But you're
bless.
like, who cares?
God bless. Who
Who
cares?
cares?
I'm not being friendly.
Joseph Smith was how old? 14?
Yeah.
He found golden tablets contained the lost work of Jesus, and only he could read it because he had a magic rock. Is that what you're saying?
I don't care about that part of him. I just care about
okay.
how he acts in the parking lot with me.
I was just down in Salt Lake a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was driving on the street and I saw these two dudes with white shirts with ties on with their clipboard walking
Yeah.
door to door. I'm like,
Yeah.
God bless them.
Yeah, you got to
Literally.
go out and do it. I
Literally,
know.
God bless them.
I know, exactly.
Worst things in the world than that. There's worse things in the world than that.
100%. And I don't care about what they're into. Just
who
mellow it
cares?
out. And I honestly do believe that you could take almost anybody that's in office and run them, and
I wonder
it'll be
why-
more mellow. They may not agree with everything that they're doing, but it will just turn this temperature down. And I think people are exhausted. They're exhausted. We can't live at this pace, at this level, at this nonsense.
But you
for
think
all
this
the
is
time.
all because I think a lot of this, when you go to back to the social dilemma, I think a lot of this is going to happen no matter what. I think Trump is a particularly polarizing figure because he's got that fuck you attitude, and you come at him, he comes at you harder, and he's just a battler, right? So it doesn't
more than a
help.
battler.
It doesn't help anything. It's not. There's no soothing from him.
There's none.
But I think
That's your job as a leader.
But I think we would be polarized no matter what right now.
There's definitely lines drawn. We're definitely polarized. But if it's at the top, you had a real Republican just saying, chill out, let's go to work on this stuff, it wouldn't
Like
be
who?
this,
Give me an example.
Wouldn't be this heightened thing.
Give me an example, other than the cult member.
Other than Romney?
Who is there anybody out there that stands out as someone that you would want to be representing that side?
I don't know. Kasich was kind of normal.
Yeah, he seems normal.
Yeah.
He
like
seems
that guy.
he seems measured.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
seems like he's just going to be a grown-up. Just be an
Yeah.
adult. Just give me a mellow adult. It's going to do the right things. And
I'm waiting for Dan Crenshaw.
Crenshaw?
Yeah,
I don't know that.
He's
don't
been
know
on
much about him.
podcasts several times.
Oh, yeah.
Navy SEAL, lost an eye in combat.
Oh, yeah.
Was a
Oklahoma?
patch. No,
he's
Texas. He's in Houston.
Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great guy. Super like reasonable,
Mm-hmm.
intelligent, rational, well thought out. Really enjoy talking to him.
That's good.
I really enjoy talking to him.
I'm gonna
He
look
makes
him up.
sense.
I wanna
don't
listen to him.
always necessarily agree with him, nor
Yeah.
do I think I should. I think there's there's room for disagreement.
100%.
But the way he communicates is very rational,
Yeah.
very sensible,
That's what
very
you want.
intelligent, and the man is like a legitimate American hero.
The guy that guy in that office shouldn't be as frantic and stuff as anybody on the edges. You know what I mean? Like
My
that guy's
word.
got to be the measured adult that kind of takes in all of those people and makes sense of it and translates it and leads and keeps us all united, makes everybody, the most upsetting part of this run has been just turning Americans on Americans. Like that's never happened in my life where we're making each other the enemy and we're not. You tour and you see people, they're not at each other's throats. They just want to raise their kids,
Yeah.
make their money, live their lives. We're not the enemy. And painting other Americans as a threat, as a foreign threat,
Well, who's
has
doing
been
that?
so upsetting.
Who's doing that?
Trump.
How's he doing that?
He constantly,
Painting other Americans as a foreign threat?
constantly says that the left is just out to destroy, and those people. I mean, everything he says is painting it that
Well,
way.
it's not everything he says.
Well.
Sure. You kind of might be exaggerating a little bit there.
Well, it's always inflaming, and it's always he runs as there's no foreign power as the enemy. It's the others in this country
he
are
does
the enemy.
say China's the enemy. He does think there's real issues with China.
That's true.
And I think there are real issues economically with China.
Yeah, I don't.
It's all,
I don't understand.
It's
any
all
of
above
that.
our pay grade, right?
Yeah, I don't understand any of that. I don't understand the nuance of
We're a couple of touring joke slingers.
right. I
talking
don't
shit
understand
about
of
global
healthcare,
politics.
but I do know when somebody is turning us against each other, and he likes doing that.
Well, he certainly likes the battle, and that was what I admired most about Obama, was the way he commanded respect was just with grace. The way he handled himself at press conferences, the way he discussed things.
Yeah, he
was
earned
very
your respect,
measured.
right?
Even when he was attacked, he would be measured.
Yeah.
He was a statesman.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Just keep your head. And it
That's
makes us all calm down.
Yes. That's what we need, really, legitimately.
If the dad in the house is an alcoholic and he comes home and you don't know who's coming in that day, if he's going to attack me or is he going to, everyone's nervous.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way the country feels.
Yeah.
If dad just comes home and he's home at 6 and just has dinner and watches the ball game and he just sits there and he's
I like
nice.
your simplistic way of describing it. I don't think it's accurate, but I understand what you're saying.
But it's an analogy. It's an analogy.
I think we all need to get on mushrooms. I really do. I think we need
When's
mushroom
the last time you took
rituals.
mushrooms?
A couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks ago?
Yeah. Well, been in Texas, so more than a couple weeks.
Where'd you do it? What was the atmosphere?
My studio. I did some during the Post Malone podcast.
You did?
Yeah, we did mushrooms together.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get giggly in the middle of the podcast?
Yeah, we got pretty silly.
Oh, I got to listen to that.
I think people need something that connects them to some sense that there's something more to life than just what we're experiencing in front of us.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Religious ritual. We need something that transcends.
Transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I know you're into that. But
And
I don't like the
that.
results with you. I'm not impressed, so. It hasn't really been compelling. I see what you're saying, but I'm like, I'm not buying it. Guy's over there just drinking pour over and sitting on his couch thinking all's awesome. Complaining about Trump. I don't see any enlightenment over there.
It's
him and Frank on the couch.
Me and Frank hanging out.
Making bread.
But it is that thing that you're taling about. It's the same thing that drugs access. It's the same thing that religion runs after, but without any dogma, without any leaders, without any thing. And it's
clarity.
It's just a kind of a sense, a growing sense as you do it over time, that there is a bigger consciousness, that there's something that is more compelling and more uniting with all of us than what we're shown on the surface.
Well, I've been doing a lot of breath exercises, breathing exercises. I do these. The one that I enjoy the most because it puts me in kind of a trance is 6 long seconds in, 6 deep breath, like a 6-second deep breath and a 6-second exhale. And I just do this in a cycle. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I do it like I try to be as honest as I can. But the most important thing is to get it rhythmic. So 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out,
That's
6
cool.
seconds. And dude, it's crazy. Like I'll sit there and I'll think 10 minutes has gone by and it's 45 minutes later.
Wow.
And I'll check because I set a timer when I do it and I just decide at a certain point in time to stop. And it's anxiety scrubbing. It's like I'm cleaning my mind of extraneous bullshit that's it's just things that are not necessary, that are getting in the way of like noise, crackling life noise. Like I'm very busy, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot of shit. I've got a lot of things going on, and I have this mind that tries to find things to think about. Like I'll lie in bed and I'll get a thought in my head about asteroids or something nutty that I don't need to think about right now.
Right.
Or I'll think
Trying to
about
sleep.
the volcanoes under Yellowstone and like what happens if one does erupt. Like how does one deal with that? Like and then all of a sudden it's fucking 2 hours later and I'm lying in bed consumed with this thought.
The brain goes after it.
Yeah. And for me the best way to stay present is through these breathing exercises. I found like it's a great relief to me. And that's the way I describe like anxiety scrubbing. Scrubs away.
Yeah, it's very similar to the way I describe it. You know,
and yours is you have a mantra, right?
You have a mantra, and you just keep repeating that mantra, and it just gives your brain a cue, basically, that it's allowed to. It's going to start thinking about this and going a little deeper and leaving all of that stuff up here, leaving all of that dates and anxiety and all that stuff that you're thinking about here in the world that you need to think about, but it's just giving your brain permission, like a little portal to go to a different state of consciousness.
Right.
And you just kind of hang there. And sometimes it's still busy. The thoughts will still kind of come in, but 20 minutes pops off and you come out and it's exactly what you're describing. Like you've scrubbed your nervous system free. You reset the computer.
We operate too much on momentum, and I think thoughts and little ideas and maybe anxiety and a little weird, they cling to you as you're going along, and then they're stuck with you. And then you got all these things that are stuck with you, like whether it's you know, bills or relationships or struggle or commitments, things you have to do, things you have to resolve, things that the news you've decided, the requirements of you, like things, all these different things, focal points of attention, and you can carry them around like weights.
And what the meditation does, it doesn't make those disappear, but it makes you able to carry those.
Yes.
There's a different perspective in carrying all that.
It cleans. For me, I feel like if my brain was like a cylinder, like a standing cylinder, it would have all this shit stuck to it all over the place that maybe I don't need to be aware of all the time.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't help.
No.
Right? But these breathing exercises for me allows me, I really do go into a trance. Mm-hmm. It's really strange. And I like the fact that I'm doing a breath exercise as well. So it's meditation, but it's also breathing. Yeah. It's like both things are happening at the same time. So there's an exercise aspect to it, because breathing exercise is like when you're sitting there, I'm like, here, like this is what I'm doing. Like,
how long is he going to do
I
it?
keep going. I'll do that for 45 minutes, but exactly at that pace.
Right.
And when I'm doing it like that, it does
physically,
it puts me into a trance.
Yeah.
But it's also an exercise for my lungs.
Right. Yeah, the breathing thing is good.
It's heavy.
Yeah. You need to do it because there's a lot to carry for all of us, for every single person. No,
especially you.
Mine's pretty light.
All the things we talked about today.
It's pretty light.
A lot going on.
It's all pretty light.
What about the bread?
The bread's going well. Bread is meditation.
It is a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I'm
it's
not
probably
kidding.
In a craft, like making delicious bread.
Yeah, it's very it's like stand up. It's like you're always working on perfecting this craft and letting your mind go and just deal with that. And when you're doing that, you're not thinking about anything else in the world.
I need to be there right when it comes out of the oven and cut into it and then put butter on it right then.
It's pretty
That's
badass.
Probably the best.
It is.
Is that the best? Like right then?
Not right then.
How much do you wait?
I mean, it's pretty close.
It's like a steak where you let it rest?
Yeah, you let it rest.
How long do you let it rest?
Some people say let it rest like another couple hours.
Who are those fucking people? What do they want? Cold bread?
People who are so fat that they're filled up with bread.
Rest a few hours.
I'm still chewing the one from last night.
I've got jam in my teeth. I got seeds.
But
warm bread though, it's so good.
It's so good.
There's only one way to get warm bread. Man. You can't wait for it to cool off.
A friend of mine gave me this butter that he got from that he found here that he had in France. Oh my God.
Butter from France.
Oh, this butter on that bread was just insane. It's all I've been doing during the pandemic. I just keep baking bread and driving it to comedians. I've seen every comedian you know.
And delivered bread?
Bread.
Well, that's cool.
It's become like my little...
that's such a nice thing.
Getting out of the house and you go drive up and see Ali Wong and hang and give her bread. And
I miss our
Go
trades.
see Leslie Jones and hang with her and give her bread. And I'm just running around L.A. feeding people. Bert, Tom.
It's beautiful.
It is.
That really is. That's cool.
It's a cool thing to do. It is. It keeps you connected. You're giving people... I'm making too much of it. You know what I mean?
How often are you doing it?
I can't eat it. Like twice a week. So
and
it's 4 loaves.
Are you still doing it for a podcast as well? Are you still doing that?
I'm still doing the Breaking Bread podcast.
So you're making bread doing that as well?
Well, I don't do... No, for the podcast, we just talk and eat.
But you were doing something where you were making bread.
I was on my YouTube channel, I show people how to bake bread.
You're still doing that?
Yeah.
So how often are you doing that?
Not that often. I haven't done one in like a month or two.
What the fuck? But you're making all this bread.
I just get it rolling. Well, I
don't understand.
I don't want to show them how I'm doing it. every night. It's the same thing.
Well, then talk during it. And you just show them, but you talk about, just talk shit about Trump. People get mad at you. It'll boost up your channel.
But he likes Romney. What's with this guy?
Yeah, what is this guy's a Romney fan? Come on, you liberal.
You liberal.
You dirty liberal. Cuck. What happened to Cuck? Cuck's not around anymore.
That went
Here
away.
he is. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah, there you go.
Smelling your starter.
I remember when that shirt was new.
Gooey Fun, the new band name? No. That's you, buddy.
Yeah, I like it.
Listen, we already did 3 hours.
This is the weirdest time warp.
It's very weird.
It's the weirdest
It
time
flies
warp.
by. It's about 3 hours? What are we at?
Yeah, right. In 30 seconds it will be.
Man,
How about that?
so cool.
3 hours.
I miss having you in L.A.
I miss having me in LA too.
And it's weird because, like, you know, I mean, the store, it'll probably feel more pronounced when the Comedy Store opens up.
Yeah.
And you're not around. But just knowing that you're not there is a little weird.
Well,
But I like that I can just get on a plane and come here.
I
That's
like that
pretty
you can
great.
too. When I open up a club out here,
Yeah. Yeah.
you must come.
I'll come anytime you want. I'm not going to stop coming.
I have multiple stages of things I'm doing out here. We're moving into stage 2.
This is like the
Stage 3.
the positive pandemic
Stage
phases.
3 will be the club, and then stage 4
Uh-huh.
will be a gigantic ranch where I'll run my psychedelic cult.
I'm in.
Don't tell the police.
I haven't had mushrooms in so long.
Oh, well,
So long.
talk to me in 10 months. That's the projected plan.
Ari gave me some when he did his TV show.
I wouldn't trust Ari's mushrooms for
I
a
still-
fucking second. Who knows what's in there? He'll put MDMA and acid in your mushrooms and laugh.
But they're so old. They're like 5 years old now, and I still
they're still
have
good.
them. You think they're good?
Try them. Just take a little bit. Just take a little bit. Take a cap.
Yeah.
Just walk around the house. Don't tell anybody. Just give everybody hugs.
Clean out the pipes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just clean out the pipes.
Just a little bit to get going.
Yeah.
Just
Just
a little
connect.
bit. Yeah.
We're all in it together, gang.
Yes.
We're all in it together. Whatever way you get there,
Yes.
you're the best.
You're the best, Tom Papa.
You is, man.
I do miss having you around, and I miss your bread.
I'll keep
So
coming.
We'll keep doing this.
All right.
All right. I love you, buddy.
Love you too.
Bye, everyone. See ya.